Welcome to Around the Mage Table. This is episode 74 of the podcast for the rest of us. Lithian, shut up for a second, dude. We've got a special guest here. Can everyone say hello to Megasett, Mist Weaver extraordinaire? I got it right there, guys. How you doing today, Meg?
Good job.
I'm good. I appreciate you guys having me on. How are you?
So I'd say I'm not feeling very well, and if anyone can tell, my voice is trash. But we are so excited that it doesn't matter anymore because we have so many questions for you. But before I get to that, Meg, I got to say hi to Lithian and Ioski. Lith, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm just chilling. It's a quiet weekend.
Bring in the noise as always. Ioski, how you doing?
Yeah.
Pretty good. If I may selfishly just steal a quick moment of time here, I need to give a shout out to someone named Husky Brusky, but in the beta key we were doing, his name was Rizzy Rose.
God, yeah.
He recognized me, sent me a whisper, and was like, "Hey, big fan." So I told him I give him a shout out. So shout out Rizzy. He stood in a gale thing at the beginning of Skyreach and got knocked off the edge, and I was like, "Rizzy, no!" And I wish I was recording it because I would have you put the clip here, but I was not. But
Ioski,
so
you
shout out
gave
Rizzy, Husky Brusky.
you gave prime time window for what was it, Rizzy?
Rizzy Rose.
Yeah, you gave prime
Rizzy
time
Rose.
in like you. So Meg, just so you know, sometimes because our other host Scrap, who right now is currently swimming with whale sharks in Atlanta, we're on a road. We gave Meg
With one whale
background.
shark.
Yeah, well, the other one died, unfortunately. We gave Meg a quick rundown on what our podcast is before we get started. But what Meg didn't know is that we are on our road for 100 episodes to line up with BlizzCon. We're going to do our episode live there. And we can only afford to miss 2 episodes between now and then. So that's why we so graciously have you here to help us keep this train going. Otherwise...
you saved the pod. You saved it.
Well, in fairness,
Awesome.
the idea was to have a guy's episode, which I very much felt like the testosterone would be off the charts and turn our viewers off. So thank you for balancing us back out. Okay, so we have some things we do want to normally talk about. Again, our episodes are sometimes 2 hours long. I don't think that'll be the case today. Let's try to keep it short. Fingers crossed. But we did want to ask you some questions, Meg, and then we'll go through some quick news points and get, not only your opinion, but the other two's, valuable opinion as well. And then, hopefully we'll get you back on your way. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. So, Meg, you are I'd argue, the voice of Mistweavers. You are a streamer. You have a YouTube page. You are also the owner of your own website, which I believe is Way of the Crane. Is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. So tell us the story, for those who don't know, like Lithian, behind your way to becoming that voice of a spec. You went so far as to build your own website. Like, why do that as opposed to just being a guide writer for, another website?
It was honestly for me mostly because I wanted everything in one spot. I used to have it all in a Google Doc and I just couldn't format literally anything the way that I wanted to.
Mhm.
Because there's a lot of external links that would go to videos or my stream or like the Wowhead guide for referencing talents and stuff. And it just kind of got really messy and it was like 15 pages long at one point. So when I really got into content creation, I was like, yeah, I'll do videos and I'll have it all on my Discord. But then it's been like a year, maybe 2 years now that I've had the website, and it's just a lot nicer to keep everything in the same place and have it also look the way that I want.
Has it only been a year?
Nice.
I feel like, I mean, maybe you've been doing content for longer, but I feel like I've known about your website since like the days of Shadowlands, maybe. Am I crazy?
No.
Wow.
Yeah,
I feel like
think
it's more recent.
I finished it like I moved from California to Washington a little over a year ago, and I had like pushed the website live like a couple days before I moved. So
Brave.
Nice.
we were
For
around
everything
there.
Was
just
it-
not go haywire.
Was it like
Yeah.
originally like a resource for you? Because you said you've had it for 2 years, but did you push it live, but you had it for yourself, or was that something you've been working on for a while?
Had been working on it for like 6 months, I think, before I ended up actually having it be live. Just because I kept having things that I wanted, but I have surface level knowledge of like HTML and CSS, and I do it through Squarespace, so I don't need to know a lot of that. But there's some things that Squarespace couldn't do,
Yeah.
So I was trying to figure out how to do that before it ended up going live.
Oh, cool.
So before Lithium came along with AI, I used Squarespace to write our website, which no one visited. What were some things, if any, like maybe you just naturally pulled an audience in, but like was there anything you did to kind of help promote your website?
Anywhere that I had the Google Doc linked previously, I just replaced it with a website, and
Mhm.
then I mention it in my guide videos now, usually at the beginning, and then anywhere that's relevant, like the Tiger's Lust and Diffuse Magic sheets, I'll mention it there again, and then at the end. So a couple times throughout videos where it's needed, and then I'll also post big updates in my Discord and like on Twitter and stuff.
So I'm an aspiring guide writer, right? And actually, I'll pull it up real quick just to give myself a shameless plug while we're doing the podcast. But so we're trying to like I've done a YouTube series called Keystone Kindergarten, and this time we're
Oh, this is
doing
nice.
we're doing an actual written guide this time. But what advice do you have for anyone else that kind of want to break into that scene, including us, to kind of again capture an audience or maybe make content that someone else isn't making already?
Trying to make content that someone else isn't already doing is really hard, but you can potentially offer unique perspective. Like there's a ton of guides for dungeons and specific bosses out there, but if I'm doing that, I'm looking at it from how would a Mistweaver handle
Mhm.
this, because it's different. Like there's different mechanics. Sometimes there's something where it's like, oh, everyone has a poison dispel. I can press one button and be done with it, and that's it. Instead of having to like reinvent the wheel or
Yeah.
accommodate any other toolkit. So you can offer unique perspectives on it or present it in a way that maybe someone else isn't.
Um,
That's
Like
good.
I know, oh, sorry.
no, go on.
No, go ahead.
Shorts are really popular right now, and
Yeah.
like short form content. And then Shaw, the brewmaster, also does the infographics, like the little like TLDR dungeon guide things, and he's been doing those for a while, so I always like those. But anything that's quick, something that someone can send in their guild Discord and be like, "Hey, look at this before we walk in
Yeah.
here together."
Yeah.
Just familiarize yourself.
Yeah.
I like that guy.
Well,
He's
Yeah, he's
he
great.
does some good stuff.
Drama aside with Quasi, like the intent that I had when I made my video series was like I loved Quasi's in-depth guides for the dungeons, but I didn't have an hour and a half to like stay focused on what he's trying to tell me. And so our intent was to build 10-minute videos and then now also a written version. But breaking into the the forefront of it is very tough. So I envy the work that
It
you've
is,
put
yeah.
into kind of claim that spot as your own. I did want to ask though, so the streaming side of it, again, like we're trying to build up our side of the streaming audience, and I think I asked you, maybe you told me this, that like you got into streaming as a result of a friend pushing you into it. Is that right?
Yeah, I was playing Mistweaver in BFA, and I had a couple people wanting to see what I was doing, just like as friends. And then one of them, his name's DZ, he was like, "Oh, you should start streaming. Like you're one of the only people playing Monk. You should show people how to do it."
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't know. I'm being
you're,
perceived.
you're still one of the only people playing Monk.
Yep.
Sorry.
It's
I mean,
you
it's
don't
not
have to
her fault.
apologize. It's true.
It's not her fault. It's the developer's problem.
No, it's
It's my
tough.
fault.
It's like hey, this is for the this here's here for the taking. You should claim it. Okay, well now it's yours, and so
Yeah.
is the burden.
Like, oh no.
Did you ever think that you would step out to be the again the voice of Mistweavers, or do you feel like it's one of
No.
those Jon Snow's I don't want it kind of thing?
It wasn't that I didn't want it. I just didn't think that it was realistic for me.
Hmm.
I'm not I stream for a living. I'm not an overly social person. I really don't talk a lot. I don't have a ton to say. So going into streaming, I'm like talking to strangers. Like I hate doing that.
I
Why
know.
why would I want to do more of that? But it's a lot different when it's not in person. And then,
Mhm.
practice makes perfect. It's a lot easier to talk to people now, but it wasn't something that I set out to do necessarily. I just got
Can I
lucky.
jump? Can I
Yeah,
jump
go
in real
go.
quick? When
Yeah.
someone's like asking you a question on your stream, and maybe it's about Mistweaver, maybe it's just about a choice you make in terms of like a transmog or something. Is that easier to talk about something you have that kind of like academic knowledge about where you can just kind of list off information, you know? Do you think it's easier to do it like is that easier for you as opposed to having like a conversation,
I
if that
think it
makes sense?
depends. Yeah, it depends on what it's about. Like if I'm explaining, if they're like, "Oh, how many targets do you spin and crank kick on?" Okay, two, right? Like that's very easy. But if we're having a conversation about like what is wrong with Mistweaver, why has it had such a bad history, then that's something I like to have more of a conversation about because there's so much that goes
Mhm.
into it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Do you
Well, I mean,
go on, Nathan?
where is Mistweaver on the meta right now? Are they in beta? Are they doing well? I thought they had a couple of
Mm,
buffs the last round.
we're okay. Like in keys, we're fine, number wise, and then the things that we're struggling with are things that we've kind of always struggled with, like with missing
Yep.
toolkit pieces. And then for raid, I'm really hoping that heroic week is good to us because right now there's not really a reason to bring
Yeah.
one. So kind of
We
kind of more of the same, I guess.
Yeah, we notoriously are anti-meta. We always advocate that if you play what you're good at, you're gonna succeed far more likely than you would. I mean, there's of course bottom chasers who are just like insanely good at the game, right? But there's
Yeah.
95% otherwise who are just chasing bottom and then end up. My argument is always like the arcane mage that comes in and does tank DPS. So like
Yeah.
it's awesome, and you're kind of like the standard where it says like, you can get title, which is arguably the pinnacle of like performance in the game on a spec that very rarely sees any conversation of meta. Do you agree that like meta might be driving people necessarily, or not necessarily in like the wrong direction, but like in a direction that isn't beneficial to them?
Definitely. I used to be the person that was like, "Oh, it doesn't matter, play what you want," because that is true for, I mean, literally
Yep.
99.9% of people. That is true.
Yeah,
Um, I have gotten to a point though where I don't know that you could necessarily do that. Like we have
really.
Clandon as our priest. He's a big dispriest enjoyer. Really hates holy. He was playing holy last year because discipline was just not good enough for what we were trying to do. Like we're like mid Hall of Fame
Hmm.
ish range, and I think we have gotten to the point where we have to make decisions where it's like, okay, you're obviously very good at your spec, but it's so much easier, and we're going to save so much prog time if you just play the better one.
Yeah, yeah. To give you some background, like we don't raid mythic. So I'm the raid leader, and we don't raid mythic for my opinion of it's just not fun to have to ask someone to switch a spec based on the
Yeah.
fact that like it's just not working, and again, completely out of their control. So it's tough, and we have actually someone who's playing Mistweaver, who I think would rather probably play Windwalker if I were to guess. Would you guys agree, Roar? And anyways,
Or
she long story short, she I think was asked by her guild to play Mistweaver in one of the raids, and I think hasn't gone back since because they needed a Mistweaver or heal or whatever it may be. And so like it's
Mhm.
obviously tougher and a different conversation in the raid. But I think especially in M plus, and building the tools around you to maybe cover the gaps that your spec has will also help, of course. But is getting the title, which I think last season was like plus 20s, right? Is it really gonna keep you up at night
Mhm.
if you're not getting the plus 24s because um, you know the meta is just that much perfect and yada yada yada. And also the Fizz comp, right? We saw Fizz comp at MDI, and also they were pushing, I think the previous season, and they were right up there with everyone else. So like, I just feel like when it comes to meta in M plus, it's just play what you want, and you'll be much more successful.
Yeah, and as much as I want to play Mistweaver the entire season, my friends also may want to play things that don't necessarily work well with Mistweaver. So people ask, they're like, "Well, why don't you just play FizzComp?" It's like I don't really want to ask four people to play something
Yeah.
they don't necessarily want to, just so I can play what I want. That's
right.
kind of rude, I think. So
Do you
I just brute force it, make it work.
do you have a team that you like we have our group of friends, we call ourselves the E team because we're not as good as the A team or the B team or the C team, we're the E team, right? And do you have that group of friends that like these are my ride or die?
I did for all of like the war within season one and kind of towards the end of Dragonflight. And I raid with them too. We are all in the
Yeah.
same guild. But our tank in season 3 our tank quit.
Oh.
So this season was a little bit weird for us. So like Prue is one of our DPS and he was tanking some, and then we met a new tank and we're pugging them. So normally it was the same group of like 6 people, maybe 7 people. But it had kind of gone down to like 3 or 4 this season.
Have you guys ever made a push for
We met some
MDI
new
or
folks.
anything like that?
No, it's a big time commitment for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. We
And
again.
you know, this is my job, but they have like real
Oh yeah,
jobs, like they
yeah,
work
yeah,
at banks and stuff. So
yeah.
Dang.
Again, we're
Having
in
a
that boat, yeah,
vehicle.
right? So,
If
go on.
can I ask a question? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're in a let's say if there was ever a time when you were in a push group and you know maybe you made the decision, okay, if we're gonna be serious, I need to switch to Druid or something. Do you still think like if you were to do a 20 with Mistweaver, you would just be more comfortable and know how to do it, even though it's easier with the Druid, or do you think you would eventually be able to kind of adapt to that new play style? And how long do you think that would take?
it kind of depends on what class. Like I've never played Druid beyond what I did when I was like I think 13 or 14, whenever like at end of WoD, whenever that was. Um and I hadn't watched any guides or anything. I was like definition of casual player. But I did end up I've CE'd on Pally, Priest, Monk, Holy, and
There you
Disc.
go.
So it kind of depends on which one, but I don't think it would take too long with how the classes have been simplified a bit. I think I'd still always be more comfortable on Mistweaver, especially because of the mobility. That's the thing that gets me, is I'll get confident about positioning and then I'll die because I don't have roll or something.
I can't roll.
I'm so slow.
Or Transcendence, that's probably a big
Yeah.
one to lose to.
Oh yeah.
It blows my mind because it's one of those things. I think you made a short about at the start of War Within, you could roll into an extra jump on
Yeah.
the whatever, the one with the big void bus.
Lighter than air.
Whatever. Anyways, point is that like it's one of those things where I just go like I never ever did that stuff when I played Mistweaver because I made Mistweaver in the end of Dragonflight, and then even Transcendence I only started using when we were in raid, and it like I could predict that kind of stuff coming. But it just goes to show like how much of a skill gap, even when I'm playing, arguably, you know, I think we're doing 15s at the time, and I actually have a question around that in a minute, but how much there's still like this gap of the muscles you build from, you know, as you said, like the movement abilities that you just rely on so heavily, and then the second you change it, it's like everything's gone. So yeah, that's definitely
Yeah.
all right.
think,
okay.
I think healing should be a lot easier now because healers don't even have to pay attention to casts anymore.
Well,
It's not like they're gonna
Alright.
kick anything.
Yeah,
let's jump into that.
You see them
Come
go
on.
off.
All right, Meg, let's open this can of worms. True or false? Is the state of healing going into midnight easier or harder? Or sorry, is it easier? Well, sorry, I give you a true or false with a 2 choice.
Oh, I'm bad at true or false. I don't know if it's easier. It's definitely different.
But you don't necessarily think it's
I think
more
it's-
difficult either.
Mm.
Like, do you
think
like
that
the more
healers have
rot?
less agency.
Yeah. Okay. So you
I
wish
I tend to like rot because my class is better at handling that compared
Yeah.
to like one shots, which I don't have tools for. So I'll say yes to that.
Okay.
It's
And of
interesting
course
'cause I
we're
think
referring
people
with
who
the
don't
plus.
people who don't heal a lot, I don't think realize the healer brain works a little bit differently. So while you know it might be technically harder, you know, if we're used to these kind of damage patterns or how stuff comes out, we'll just figure out, okay, this is how we deal with this, the way we think about it. I think as someone's newer, it might be a bit more difficult to jump in than it has been in recent seasons. Do you
Yeah,
agree or
100%.
disagree? Yep.
I think rot
Yeah,
scares
I mean-
people because it's constantly moving health bars, and that freaks some players out. Whereas the one shots, when they're not in one shot territory, it's a one and done, and then you can just push people back up. But the rot is a constant like juggle of health
Threat,
bars, which I think is a little intimidating sometimes.
And that's one thing I've noticed in Midnight too. I think there's a lot of damage that goes out that's just like it's a big burst and then that's it. And then people will commit a cooldown when it's like, no, you got a few seconds, like top everyone up, save that cooldown for when you actually need it. And obviously as people get more experience, they'll learn to do that. It's mostly just getting experience with what's going on and how to figure it out.
So I tank for our group, and I've been playing Blood Death Knight a lot, and Blood Death Knight has some limited mobility, right? So my pools are pretty, they're pretty easy to chain, and I switched to, so we have this wheel thing that we do to pick what class we're going to play for fun,
Well, hold on.
and
Give it a
I
little more
landed
explanation than
it on
that.
Brewmaster this time.
The long,
It's a wheel, you spin it,
Like
and
a
we,
spin
we do
wheel?
it on purpose though, because we want to
Yeah,
prove that
it's spin
anyone
wheel.
can play anything, right? So like it's not just
Oh, okay.
like the idea is this season, for
Yeah,
example,
yeah.
all of us had to spin the wheel to pick a spec, despite the fact that, like, for example, we have one of our who was our healer, he's now a DPS playing enhancement and he's dreading it, but we're doing it more of just like we found that it was a lot of fun to learn a new spec and push ourselves as hard as we could. Sorry, I just wanted to give context to the wheel. It's not just sorry, Lithin, go on.
Yeah, our group got a new healer, and the new healer is really bad and not very good. But anyway, that's that's not the point. The point is, when doing some of these dungeons, as a tank, without knowing the dungeons yet, I haven't read these wonderful guides or anything. My pools keep going until the healer starts to cry. And I don't know, like, that's how I know that I'll know I made a mistake when Frank can't keep everybody alive and he starts yelling at me. So that's kind of how I learned the routes. Is that like, how do you guys go about like learning how much to pull and all that other stuff when you're progging on some of these keys?
So we spent quite a bit of time in 20 Priory at the end of the season.
Nice.
And we had to do a ton of reprog because we just didn't have we had a different comp than like the meta group. And the problem was just that you're getting overkilled on that first pull by a shot plus an overlap, or just small amounts that Mark of the Wild would take care of or a hot tick would take care of, and I just didn't have those things. So we're looking at it and we're like, okay, what do we have? We have a wall. You can stand behind the wall and not get hit by these mechanics. You're gonna do less damage, but as long as we live, like, it's fine. So we usually try to do what the meta group is
Yeah.
doing, and if we keep consistently dying to something because of like my kit lacking, then we start, okay, what do we have? Like, what can we work with?
How satisfying is that to find solutions to problems that other specs just happen to have built into their kit? Because it's gotta be interesting.
It was satisfying for a while, and I felt very rewarded in doing it. But I think in the War Within, in particular, it has been more punishing than usual. It's gotten a lot harder to get title as Mistweaver, especially like season 2 and season 3. Is kind of close, especially
Mm.
2 because you had Oracle Disc Priest, but then even every other healer had some way of increasing health pools beyond 100%, and Mistweaver just did, like, we have Chikakuns, but that still wasn't enough. So I
Well,
just felt like I
yeah.
was fighting extra hard to do something that everyone else gets for free.
Piggybacking off of that, do you, when there is something like Oracle Disc Priest, and there maybe and you start to see these key levels kind of rise somewhat artificially because they just have a powerful shield that just no one else can do, do you find that frustrating in terms of how you feel about the balance of your own class, or do you think it's okay for there to be a healer that is at that point able to kind of push where no one else can kind of reach?
I think there's always going to be, there's always going to be a meta, whether it's 1% or 10%. And I think that's fine, but I do think that they need to realize that shield healers, especially to the extent that Oracle was, is never going to be easy to balance or good for the game necessarily.
Mhm.
Because you heard people talking about, like, oh, DPS are lazy now. They don't press defensives because they don't have to because of Oracle. And then they get another priest or another healer, and then they're dying because they're not aware that they're going to die. I didn't see so much of that, but I know it was happening. I heard a lot about it.
Yeah,
Oh man,
guarantee it was happening.
I'm writing out a whole bunch of questions because I've got like a lot of things I want to springboard off of. The first thing I want to just jump in quickly, and hopefully we can end it quickly, is Resilient Keystone, right? So you talked about trying to get in those 20s. What are your thoughts on Resilient Keystone? Is it hurting you? You talked about the title being a little bit more challenging, and it sounds like it also lined up a little bit with Resilient Keys. Or do you actually see it differently than maybe some of your peers?
I think there's good and bad in it. I definitely tend to look at it more positively, which I think is not very common for like title range point of view. I think they tend to dislike it.
Yeah.
I appreciate Mythic Plus becoming more accessible to everybody because that's what it is in the end, is a time commitment. And if more people can do it, you spend less time doing homework, you spend less time with like key rot if you didn't log in 1 week. I think that's all good.
Okay.
I think the problem, I don't even know if it's a problem because they're like, oh well, then you just sit in keys all day, and it's like, yeah, but you're doing that anyway.
Yeah.
It would take longer if you had to do 19 then a 20 and then a 19 and then a 20 instead of just doing the 20 over and over.
Yeah. That's the part of the argument I never
Yeah.
understood. It's like you're still
Do
there.
you,
What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Do you think it would be? Would it be better if you could push the actual key level you wanted to, or are you okay with reprogging the 20 over and over if you need to kind of build a key back up?
Like if it would, like if you need a 21, you could farm the
Yeah.
21 or you could.
I realized when I was asking the question that you wouldn't be doing a resilient key that many times if you already had it. So forget what I said.
No,
Well,
but
some
the
did.
question
Some
still
did.
stands,
Like
right?
Prue was our resilient holder because he
Yeah.
was playing with a different group that was meta and had that 20, and then he was
Uh-huh.
helping me and some other friends do it.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so how do you feel about that? Like, if you know someone who happens to be doing a higher key level, do you? I mean, obviously you can obviously help your friends out, but do you feel any sort of way about people doing that to get title? I mean, obviously if you're good enough to do it, you're going to get it anyways. But
Well, you have to be good enough to do it, right?
I like to get carried.
There's definitely some carrying that has happened with sales, especially.
Oh.
I don't feel like I can talk too much about it because I have done sales historically. I didn't do them this season, but it is something that I usually will do.
You got to pay for the game one way
I
or
don't.
another.
I don't necessarily have an issue with resilient and like having the connection with the person that has it because it's still a social game and it always has been.
Mhm.
And even pre-Resil, it was like, oh, it's all about who you know. Like none of that has changed. It's just a little bit more
Right.
prevalent, I guess.
It's just more obvious or more in your face,
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, especially
Yep.
the way people
Yeah.
are making you tip for keys and stuff. Did it just even get in?
Yeah, that was something that was bad. Like you open up LFG and it's just selling this, Resil, this tip per attempt, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this is crazy.
I want to circle back on what
Wow.
ISU was asking though. Like, so not a lot, but some people are advocating for the idea that if you have resilient, it should be at the keystone you're trying to push, as opposed to the one that you've already completed. Do you feel like if they were to switch it to the one you're trying to push, it would be detrimental to the top title pushers?
I think it would be more detrimental to people that are under title.
Mhm.
Because if as soon as you get people like, okay, you push your 16 and then now you're pushing 17s, and then maybe someone joins late in the season and they're like, I'm comfortable with 14s. There might not be many 14s left.
Okay. Yeah. Good point.
So it might be harder to push if you end up not having people like in the couple of levels lower.
Fair enough. That's actually an argument I've not heard yet. So good point. Okay, I want to circle back also to you talked about Disc Priest, but the one that was in the news recently, I was curious about because I saw on Twitter you posted the picture of the Brandon Fraser from the Whale with Mistweaver beads and stuff on. Whereas in contrast, Ellesmere and the Paladin collective, including Ioski, have been kind of eaten good with the developers going into the beta cycles. And I was just curious, like, do you feel, well, first off, do you feel like it's a consistency across all the healers getting the things that they feel are very important to them? And if so, like, what do you think is the most effective way for the average everyday person to kind of tell the developers, here's what I think our class needs?
The forums are surprisingly the best way, like as a player, to get feedback to them. I always said that if I was a dev, I would never ever read the forums, but it is a good way to reach them. They do get
Would you rather
read.
Twitter?
Maybe more classes some than other. That has worked in the past as well.
Well,
But being able to post on the forums and have it all like written out and well thought out, I think is better than Twitter, just because Twitter has the character limit and it makes it kind of hard to get points across.
mhm.
Twitter, you start to get into the mobbing a little bit, And even on the forum sometimes, there's a lot of mobbing that happens where they're trying to make some influence around change, and so they just start mobbing
Well,
the boards and stuff.
what
So
about the Rep Pally Discord? I mean, do you feel like a Discord has enough sway to, well,
the
I
Red
mean,
Pally Discord.
Yeah.
Such a joke.
I don't think that them closing down to Discord is what got them changes. I think
no,
that
of
the
course
changes
not.
were already in the pipeline
Yeah.
just to happen to get pushed. But
Yeah.
people make
Yeah,
that
yeah.
joke a lot. They're like, "Oh, time to shut the Discord down." I'm like, "No, man, talk about it." Like,
What about like the consistency though between all the, and in this case we'll talk about heroes, like do you look upon maybe, and I don't know how the developers, like, do they share multiple specs that they work on, or are they just like one dev per spec? But like, do you feel like you, as a, you know, the voice of Mistweaver, have to speak up louder than maybe some other classes to get your point across?
I don't know if I have to speak louder. I think that maybe what I say gets seen more just because there's not as many people talking about it. There's not as many like public advocates for the spec. I do think that a lot of the, I don't know how to say this. A lot of the changes that Mistweaver wants isn't necessarily in the hands of the dev, and it's more of like this idea of this is what their kit is, this is what their identity is. We're not going to give them certain things that would pull them out of that, and that unfortunately happens to be things like Life Cocoon having a DR or
Yeah.
whatever. Like we're
Yeah.
not a healer that has DR in our kit pretty much anywhere except for like Soothing Mist.
That's very interesting.
And as much as maybe a dev would like to give someone something, they can't because of like their hands are tied at a higher level.
Yeah, it's tough because, like, I mean, if you were to judge it based off what you see, again, talked about on Twitter as our example, because we always talk about the degeneracy of Twitter. You know, you would think that it's like the devs don't care, but it does sound like that either they have their hands tied for, you know, logistical reasons that makes sense to the health of the game, or, you know, like they even have some data on their end that people haven't thought of, but they can't just sit there and start telling everyone what they have as their reasoning, because then they open themselves up to criticism, right?
Yeah, and I know that there's been some devs active in class discords in the past, whether they're, I think I can't remember their name, but the rogue and the DH guy was one person, and they were pretty active for a while. I know that there's others that lurk because there's very specific wording that gets through sometimes, and you're like, okay, I know where you got that from.
Yeah.
But I think that it's scary to put yourself out there when you're in charge of it, because people love to blame devs for stuff, even when it's not necessarily their fault.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you so, like, I know you said that it's gotten harder and harder to title on Mistweaver. Do you feel like what's the closest you've ever come, and maybe it hasn't happened yet, but like now you're worried it might be soon, to ever saying I'm not going to be able to do it on Mistweaver and I need to switch? Has there been a time in the past 2 seasons or even before that you said, like, I'm reaching a limit that I'm worried about?
I was pretty worried about season 2 when Oracle first started coming out and key levels were jumping like 2-3 levels. I'm like, oh, this isn't gonna happen this season. But it in the end, I don't think I play as much as some other people in title range. So I think that maybe if I just put more time into it, I wouldn't be like worried in those situations. Because we did take quite a bit of time off, given that affixes aren't a thing anymore. But if I were to play consistently throughout, I think I would probably be a little safer.
Yeah.
But there's definitely been some times in this expansion where I was like, ooh, I need to I need to focus up and start doing some keys.
Would you chase the you know, Thotem, or would you just say, like, oh, you know, I'm really good at Holy Paladin as well, so I'll go for that?
I think realistically what I do is, and this I've considered doing this for Midnight, when I was more unhappy with how Mistweaver was in beta, I was considering just playing whatever was meta and then just dragging my monk through Rizil keys later on in the season. As unfun as that sounds, I am committed to getting every title on Mistweaver now because it's been,
Yeah.
I think, 10 at this point. So
Yeah, what, like, I think you started in BFA, is that right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then the first title was season 2 of Shadowlands.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
The
Yeah.
first, the Tormented.
Yeah. Okay. So, I need to introduce you to a concept before we start the next topic of conversation. So,
Okay.
I am in a heated argument with our other co-host Scrap about the idea of vibe building, right? And my argument, my hypothesis I'm testing this season is I know that there are guides out there that will obviously min-max and show you the path forward to perfection of your chosen spec. But I am trying to see if I can be successful at not looking at any guides and kind of like just, for example, I jumped on beta as a Holy Paladin and I just chose what I saw looked fun. So before I get into my actual question that I really want to know about from your perspective, what's your thought on the idea of like a casual player, not even just like trying to look at the guides and figuring it out, but like flat out ignoring it and just like loading up the game and playing? Do you think it's, and I say successful, like maybe, getting Keystone, what is it, Legend or whatever, 3K. Do you think they can be successful at just quote unquote vibe building their talent tree?
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that when you're vibe building and not necessarily looking at numbers, you are picking to play the game that you want to play, like the playstyle that you enjoy. We get that a ton with Mistweaver. They're like, I don't want to be in melee.
Yeah.
Is this good? And like none of it's going to be good compared to what the best build is. But if you enjoy it and you're succeeding at whatever level of content you're doing, then yes, it is good for you, right? You can succeed
Well,
your definition of success.
Lithium's going to take a shot at me here.
right.
Hold
So
on.
it's good up to a point, though.
Yeah. What do you think
Right,
that
like-
point
Yeah,
is?
you'll
Well-
eventually run into a wall.
Yeah, and that's the issue is like if we want to push and Frank is over here vibe building Holy Paladin and we're starting to hit that wall and we know it's a healer issue and we play with Ayaski and he doesn't lose any mana the entire time he's playing and Frank is just drinking all the time. It's like how do you like you
Yeah.
hit the wall
I don't think
and
that's
it's
a
like,
talent, by the way. I think that's my play style. But yeah, I get your point.
well, I mean I don't know. I don't know anything about healing, but I know the difference between healers when I'm tanking. But yeah,
Where's
I
your
think,
question and where do you throw it at me to
I
make
don't
me
know.
feel bad?
I don't- I
I know what you mean.
I kind of I
Oh.
agree with Scrap that you can only get to a point. You're gonna hit that
course,
wall,
of
and then
course
we're
there's a
gonna make
point,
fun of
right?
you until you we'll pressure you.
No, and like
Yeah,
so.
I think like starting out vibing is fine, but then as soon as it starts to impact group success, like your success is one thing, but as soon as it starts to impact
Mhm.
your group and whether you guys are passing or
Right.
failing as a result of your fun build, then it's I think inconsiderate to continue trying
Yeah.
to force that. But
Yeah.
The fun is
you can make the same
over.
argument for not re-rolling. So
No, I'm like, so that's why
Yeah.
we tried to define what success meant because for the sake of the the science experiment, at the 0.5 patch, I'm allowed to start reading things and doing it. I don't want to like handicap my team from being successful because I'm trying to be stubborn about the fact that you can do this. But do you think there is a point where you'd say like, hey, look, I know you don't want to be in melee, doing the well, it was Jade Fire Stomp. I don't know, like the ancient
teachings.
teaching. There you
Yeah.
go. I think ancient teachings. Like, is there a point where you'd say, okay, at keys 15, at key 18, or where do you feel like that's kind of like, okay, you can't do this anymore?
I think right now the two things that people try to do is, and I don't like to use the terms because they don't really mean anything because it means something different to everybody. But you have these people asking about fist weaving and you have people asking about cast weaving.
Mhm.
And typically what they're meaning is to heal purely through doing damage and not casting at all versus not doing any damage at all and only casting. And neither of those things really exist. It's always a mix of both.
Mm.
But I do think that like
Well,
go ahead.
so I saw on your website you do log reviews, right? You look at
Mhm.
VODs and things, and you're probably gonna have people who have a certain type of play style, or they're not gonna want to do what you probably should. I'm gonna fumble around because I don't know much about healing, but like how do you respond to that though? Like in some of those log reviews.
I haven't actually had an issue where someone's like, here's my log. but I don't want to play the build that you're recommending. Usually, if they're coming to
Nice.
me
Okay.
for a log,
That's fair.
they're looking to perform better than they are, which would mean that they should
Yeah.
be open to changing their build. So
If you give Meg,
That's fair. That's fair.
if you give Meg your login and money, and you're like, I'm not going to do what you say, that's a waste of your of everyone's time. So
I'll
People have money to waste, man. I see it
They
all the
do,
time.
they do.
true.
I'll tell a story at my expense that I know Lithian will enjoy. But so I told you that I healed Mistweaver. I was maining it for season 3 of Dragonflight, and we were doing what's the Evergreen? Is that what it is? The Everbloom?
Everbloom.
Everbloom. It's Everbloom.
Yep. And the third boss that had the, you know, like the massive amount of AoE damage that was going out every time she cast. I was the type of person that was like trying to do 99% of my healing through just letting the DPS do it for me. And, you know, like I think we were doing a 15 at the time, and I was like, it was working fine up until that point. But then I started getting my ass handed to me. And of course, Lithium will never let me forget it because, you know, like I didn't take the time to slow down and look at, you know, the synergy between, you know, I think it's like enveloping mist and other things. But so like my point I'm trying to make with this vibe building thing is I don't suspect you can get title vibe building your way, right? But you know, like I definitely think I can get a 12 done. We've done caring of some people where they are like literally just like at the entrance the whole time and we're still able to get them their keys. So I just feel like it's a fair argument, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the question I wanted to ask you though, right? Because there's some other examples too. Like I did Frost DK a season or 2 ago, where like I log on to PTR beta, I try to vibe build my build, and I just like get it completely wrong. What are you like? What's your approach when, in this case, like the midnight beta launches and you see all the changes they're making? Do you approach it with like a numbers driven analytics of trying to figure out the best build, or do you really just start with vibe building it and then kind of go from there?
Usually on alphas and betas, I start with just going based off of the playstyle that I would like to play. Because numbers in beta, I always like to say they don't mean anything
Yeah.
because they're going to change so much. So I'll usually start with like a playstyle that I would like to play and then take into consideration other playstyles that are like offshoots of the one that I like or things that we've seen in the past in Raider and keys. And then numbers will kind of just come throughout the beta cycle. But usually it's just based on vibes initially.
Yeah.
How much of the builds you ultimately decide to run, or maybe that are considered meta, how much is that as collaboration between you and other high Mistweavers that are trading information?
Quite a bit. I'll usually do a lot of the Mythic Plus stuff with Swirl, and then a lot of the raid stuff with Swiggles and Vor.
That's awesome.
Cool.
It's nice to know that like the top end
Yeah, it's
players have
very
that community.
rarely like my build, you know.
I was afraid she was gonna say we don't talk.
Oh, I know.
We're all on our own.
I was
man.
gonna say,
Go ahead,
I know there was one of the questions they were kind of wanted to ask, and since we're kind of on it, has there ever been a time when maybe the meta build recommended a certain talent, but you just found you liked something else better for the situation, or do you think it's pretty cut and dry for most things?
I think there's a little bit of nuance between them. Like last season in beta, there was a Chinese monk that was playing No Legacy with Mending Proliferation. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of weird. But obviously, you know, it's doing well with Harmonic Surge and all of that playing into it. The problem was just that, like, I didn't want to recommend it to people because a lot of them didn't need the throughput that it would provide. You would also be casting a ton of Enveloping Mist, which wasn't like a normal playstyle loop. And then a lot of the healing from Legacy is just like that AoE, just cast Jalen's Gift and heal everybody. And that works for most people. So that's what I would still recommend for them.
And
Yeah.
there are builds that are recommended, and then there's builds that, hey, someone's doing a plus 20, so don't even worry about what they're doing because that's a completely different game kind of deal. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes. It doesn't happen too often with healing, but that was one of the more recent examples where it's like, yes, this works. Yes, this is really good, like at high end, but you're not doing that, and that's fine.
Right.
This is going to be much better for you and more consistent.
Lithium, do you have a
Or
question?
same Lithium before?
No, I was gonna say, you know, when people are pushing keys, right? They're playing Mistweaver and you know, they're trying to learn and they can play a certain way up to like 10s and 11s, but once they hit 12s and 13s, like what do you see? Like what do you see in that transition for those folks that are trying to push higher, right? What do they need to change most of the time when they come to you with questions or with concerns because they're struggling, but it looks easy when they watch the YouTube videos or whatever, and you know they're trying to figure out how to push past a certain point. Like, what's the change that you see them having to make?
A lot of the things that I see are mismanaging cooldowns. Like they either don't use them at
Mm.
all or they double up or triple up cooldowns that they have. Like I'll see people press GG and then immediately press Shaylens at 10 stacks where it's like, hang on, take a breath. You just need one of those. You can pick which one, doesn't really matter. And then save the other one for
Nice.
later. And then the other one will come back up and you'll be good. But people do panic a lot. So they'll
Yeah.
just send every cooldown. I think the biggest
Yep.
thing is just learning how to wait really is the big
Mhm.
thing.
There is no role that panics like a healer does. I could
Yeah.
DPS for days, and then as soon as I step into a challenging key, I'm just like, you know, meme of the guy in airplane sweating his, you know.
Sweating.
Yeah. All right. So I think this was in Dragonflight that Thune made a video around the complexity of like the talent trees not working, and he used Mistweaver as an example. Do you know which video I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you feel like obviously that wasn't a direct reason this pruning happened in Midnight, but do you feel like maybe they've gone too far given that was a criticism that a lot of people were having with not just Mistweaver but all classes?
I think Mistweaver actually got off pretty easy on that. We still have quite a bit of interactivity between our talents. It's not as ridiculous, honestly, as it was before, and that's really good. I think
Yeah.
Mistweaver is like a good example of a tuning well done. And then you have something like Shaman. I don't even know what they don't even press chain heal anymore. Like I don't know what they do. Healing wave, I think, is all, and I think that was overdone for sure.
Do you think like the complexity, I say quote unquote because you know some of it was like hidden behind the scenes that people didn't even realize it, but do you think it's like that kind of complexity that kept or keeps people away from certain specs including Mistweaver? Or do you think that was never a problem?
Hmm, I think the thing that keeps people away from Mistweaver more is the fact that you are in melee, and a lot of healers, especially, are not comfortable with that, which is understandable. Mistweaver has a ton going on under the hood in terms of like min-maxing and meeting heal checks at a high level, but if you didn't know any of those things and you were playing it into like 12, 15, 16, 17, then you would be fine still. It's just the melee thing kind of creeps people out a bit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so
Frank,
go on.
I, well, go ahead with your
Well, I
question.
was just
It
going
was
to bring
probably
up we had
related.
someone who commented on our I think it was maybe last week's or the weeks before episode, saying that, and they wrote like 4 paragraphs about this. I'll be honest, I didn't read it past the first because I just said this is a little ridiculous. But they effectively argued that because Mistweavers lost their kick, that they were a dead spec, and like not only from gameplay wise because they were the melee healer, quote unquote, but also because thematically not having a kick just like ruined it for them. I mean, do you do you agree that that's the case, that Mistweaver should be dead in the water because no kicks?
We're definitely not dead in the water. It was the one thing that we had over something like a priest. Like that was our one claim. It's like, well, at least I can't PI, I can't mind soothe, I can't fort, but I can kick. I got that. And now that that's gone, it's like that feels pretty bad. Um, I don't think that it. I guess it
Why
kind
did
of
shamans keep theirs though,
disproportionately
right?
affects us, but well, that's their thing. They've always had it, right?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
special.
Especially.
they're
If
special.
you had to get rid of one traditional piece of monk utility, like your maybe like a ring of peace, or like the what's the kick that stuns the AoE stun?
Like sweep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
sweep. Like what would you give up for something more traditional in the for something that would maybe make the spec a little more competitively viable, like a B-res or something else you've been asking for, like a DR on a Life Cocoon or something?
I would give up. I don't know if this counts because I never take it. I'd give up our slows, like disable and
Oh,
crash
there
and
you go.
momentum. I never
Mhm.
run that. I know PvPers use some of them, but I'd get rid of those. Or if it's something that I always take, I'd probably give up paralysis. I'd like to
Mm.
keep the soothe somehow, but para can be
Yeah.
covered by hunter, DH, mage, rogue. Like so many things can do that. So
Mhm.
Um,
Meg hates
Frank,
PvP confirmed.
I do.
Frank, I want you to talk about what you and Phoenix argue about all the time.
well, I was going to transition to it. Okay, Meg, I'm going to set up a scenario for you. Okay,
I just did it for you.
Okay.
this is our oldest dating argument. Okay, so we're in Oldemon. You know I think it's the third boss, the one that was like the snake that would
Yeah.
bleed people and whatever. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. Do
Telongus,
you
I think.
believe if I am a mage that has, let's say, ice block or ice cold, you know, the one that heals me back up, available off cooldown, and there's that big AOE, you know, the damage output. Do you believe that if I were to know that normally I would survive it if I just got like one heal or two heals at most, choosing not to use my defensive is a crime, given that the healer decided that instead of healing me, they should DPS instead? Right? There's obviously been a lot of pressure on some healers throughout other seasons, I think, but you know, like, where do you stand on the idea that healers, one, like, okay, let's start with there. Where do you stand on healers' damage? Do you feel like it's who cares, or do you feel like, no, I want more?
I spend most of my time pressing DPS buttons anyway, so I would like to do a little bit more
Yeah,
because that's
that should
where
be your
most of
thing, right?
my presses are.
Yeah.
But yeah. But even in that case, even as our like most damage conversion focused build, we're still a healer before we're a DPS.
Yeah.
So health bars should be your first concern,
Yeah. Okay.
regardless of the method of pushing them up.
Because you know,
You
like
don't want to take damage trinkets?
Oh, I
You don't
love
want
damage
DPS
trinkets,
trinkets?
but I only run damage trinkets if I can heal the content without them.
right. So okay, see, that's fair, right? Because like
Yeah.
I'm obviously I'm you know, leading the witness here a little bit, but the idea for me is that like I have no problem with healers throwing in some DPS, right? But their job, their role, is to come in and, as you said, make sure health bars stay. I'm not even gonna say 100%, just make sure I don't die, kind of thing. And so in this scenario, I did have ice cold off cooldown ready to go, but I didn't use it because I was like, I want to save it for an emergency. You know, there was still like 40% of the boss's health left. And yeah, we got into this big argument because they were choosing to, they were shaman, so they were, whatever, Nova, Flame Nova or whatever, instead of healing. And we got in this argument, they were saying, well, yeah, but like, we have to do DPS too, or else a key is not going to theoretically get timed. My argument to that was, yes, but if I waste my global to, you know, defensive wastefully, my point, versus yours that your global's used to do minimal DPS, that's not the you know, the right trade-off I want to make. But
Yeah.
we've been at this for years, and I just want to get someone with some authority to tell me I'm not crazy.
Yeah, so in that specific case, I would be mad if you used your defensive on just the stomp alone
Yeah.
instead of saving it for the stone shard plus the stomp, because you will die there and I can't do anything about it. But I can
Yeah.
deal with your health with just the stomp.
Yeah, no, I just had like the stomp had already happened, and I think I alter timed it back. I'm sorry, I'm wasting. But anyways, thank you. Okay,
No, I
I'm
know
gonna
too.
clip this. I'm gonna yes, right. I'm feeling validated. I'm feeling heard. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh my
there's
goodness.
This can be the
2026.
the
This is a
short or
great year.
something.
Yeah. No, it'll just be a short.
Or
Send
yeah,
Phoenix.
What were we
it
saying?
might
Meg?
be a different kind of situation because once we get like when we get into hierarchies, it's like, okay, there's these very specific overlaps that I need you guys to use your defensives because I can't
Of
help you
course.
there.
Yeah.
So it gets frustrating when they use them on stuff that I can heal or stuff that I do have cooldowns for, and then they have nothing and I have nothing. So
Yeah.
it's probably a little harder at the mid range or the lower end, knowing what will actually kill you and what won't, because most things won't. So then it's a little bit more gray area on where your cooldowns go.
Absolutely.
I
No,
think
and don't get me wrong, like
sometimes-
we can coordinate too, right? Like it's just sorry.
No, it's
Like,
fine.
no, you're
It's
fine.
just funny.
Like if you watch like Ellesmere sometimes, he won't always push a health bar up, but that's because he knows when the next bit of damage is coming out, and he knows that even though someone's at like 30% health, he can do damage because they're not going to die. If
Mhm.
you don't know that information, like, yeah, if you have the knowledge that someone's not going to die, yeah, go ahead, pump. But like, if you don't, like, probably save them or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I've had
Well,
people, I'll have them sit at like 30% because nothing is happening and nothing's going to happen for another
Mhm.
20 seconds. And they're like, I'm scared. I'm like, what? Where's my health? And I'm like, just give me a fucking second, please.
As
You're fine.
does does it hurt now that you guys can't track defensives anymore, can you? Like that's not a
Yeah,
thing anymore, right?
we can only track when they're active, and only some of them work. Like I'll press
Mm.
Fort Brew or Karma, and I won't see it on my frames, but I'll see Ice Cold or like Fiery Brand and stuff.
I've
It's a
noticed that
little
too.
inconsistent. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
weird.
Ooh.
especially when it's like a tank mitigation and you don't know if they're gonna be okay or not.
Yeah, and it's like
Well,
I don't care if my warrior has shield block up because that should be up all of the time.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't care about
Right.
that.
right. But like as a tank, when I'm rolling into a big pack, I used to look at what people had for cooldowns available, and I could know that they're going to be able to burn this pack down. And now it's like, well, I can't really see it. So if I'm not in Discord with folks, I can't ask that question. I think it's the same for defensives. Like you don't know if
Mhm.
you may not know if ice block is available for a mage or whatever, whatever defensive is available. And I don't know if that impacts your gameplay any or just your ability to yell
It
at
definitely
somebody.
does. It definitely does. There's so many times where we'll be in a dungeon and it's like, okay, I have a Death Knight with me. If I see AMS is available, I'm just not going to heal them ever at all. Like
Right.
they're going to be fine,
Mhm.
but I don't have that information now. So it makes it, if we're
Mm.
in Discord, obviously, like I'll be able to communicate, but I think it does impact people that pug a lot or people that just don't want to be in Discord.
Yeah.
And that's it's a frustrating problem to have.
Yeah.
Do you think in mid or the first season of Midnight in particular that not knowing exactly will be an issue because do you think we'll get to a point where keys are one-shotting people again, or do you think the damage is just going to stay consistent and be more just a healer needs to know when to use their cooldowns and DPS can just kind of try to get a general idea of when they should be using the defensives?
I don't know if we're gonna get into one shot territory. I think that we might hit like timer versus DPS issues before we get to one shots in a lot of cases. There's certain dungeons where I could see myself getting blown up, but generally I think it'll just
Well,
be like rotating cooldowns and HPS checks.
Mhm.
yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
in beta we see like if there aren't enough kicks to handle the pack that we're pulling, you get that bolt spam on a single
Mhm.
person, which I thought they were going to get rid of that. I don't know. It seems to be still a problem.
Well,
There's a couple dungeons where the bolt spam is still prevalent, but then it's replaced with something like the the bolt itself doesn't do as much damage, but it leaves a dot on you. Like there's one of those
Mm,
in Mysara.
yeah.
So you can't kick it, but then you could maybe dispel it. But there is again a lot of dispels too. So
Oh
yeah.
yeah, there's an insane amount of dispels this season. It's definitely a pick and
dispel
choose
slop.
situation. Yep, dispel slop. Yep.
Nice.
Um, I had a question. I forgot it. I did want to ask, like, okay, so let's talk about the dungeons for a second. Do you feel, well, first off, are you excited about the dungeons? You feeling good about the next season set of dungeons?
Yeah, I was really worried when Skyreach was coming back and Pit of Saron, but I really like the dungeons a lot.
Yeah, yeah. The Skyreach is brutal right now for, at least for me.
Yeah,
I've been getting absolutely slapped
it
around
definitely hurts. Yeah.
it. Okay, so what do you do then as, again, not only a leading player, but also maybe your community kind of leans on you for this information when they struggle with a dungeon? What do you do to prepare yourself when a new season is coming to like be successful in a dungeon? Do you like read the guides or do you write your own? What do you do?
Most of it comes from beta. I haven't done that many this season to be honest, but I'll usually do a lot of stuff on beta to get a good first impression. And then honestly, it's just keep doing it. Keep doing it until you see weird stuff happen. And that's like the the big one, I think.
Do
It's
you
like,
find
oh, when we, get to a level 18, suddenly there's an overlap that's gonna kill everybody.
yeah?
And we had never seen this far into the fight before.
But you don't feel like discouraged by that. You like, do you find it fun to kind of hit those new challenges?
Yeah, most of the time. I think there's been a couple of mechanics in the past where I'm like, I genuinely have no idea how I'm supposed to live this on anything higher than X key level. But that's usually like a tuning problem that ends up getting fixed. But I do kind of like the figuring out the cadence of the fight.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's arguably the most fun. Yeah. All right, gents, I'm about to run into some rapid fire questions. Is there anything else you guys wanted to ask before we get into that?
Yeah, I know we maybe kind of talked about it a little bit, but I was curious to kind of go more into like how much pressure is there kind of being the main Mistweaver, kind of like one of the main Mistweaver creators, and do you ever feel like even if you were kind of swayed to another class for your own personal goals that you would hesitate to do it just because you're so synonymous with monk, or does that not play into it at all?
I don't see myself ever completely leaving Monk behind. Like I'll always play it probably. And whether or not I was writing guides for it, that would be true. I just like it that much.
Mhm.
But there's definitely some times where it's like I want to try something, but I don't want people to freak out and think that I'm main swapping because I'm playing something else.
It happens on your stream a lot in beta when you were trying
It
some
does, yeah.
DPS out. That was pretty funny.
They're like, "Why are you on a mage?" I'm like, "Oh my god, it's okay."
Well, and you said you do it for the love of the spec too. Like, I mean, I would assume your guides kind of would continue as a result too, just because you're not writing the guides. Well, maybe you are for some financial benefit, but like you chose to do this path because you love Mistweaver, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, not surprising.
All right.
All right,
That was
anything
it for
else?
the lightning round. So
All right, cool. All right, lightning round. Okay, we just got some quick.
All right.
I say quick. I mean, you can answer as much as you want, and some of them actually might require it, but more bite size. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So, what's your most unpopular opinion of WoW? The one that would get you like all the swords pointed at you.
Ooh. I think that I think class homogenization is kind of a fake argument against giving people universal tools like BRes and Lust.
Are you
I don't know if that's unpopular or not.
Are you for or against like more classes having less than B-res?
I think role abilities should be a thing,
Oh,
at
okay.
least in instance content. Like raid, it gets a little more sticky, but in keys, I think it should be a thing.
Okay, cool. Would you bring scrolls back, like battle res scrolls, and like
Yeah.
yeah? All right. What do you think is a topic not enough people are talking about with WoW?
If you are not enjoying it, log out. Go play something else and come back to it later.
Fair enough.
I
All
think a
right.
lot of people get hung up on all the negatives about it and forget to actually enjoy it sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, like how many people are just jumping online to hate it despite the fact that they unsubbed 15 years ago and they just want to continue to hate on it?
Yeah,
I mean, that's what
that's so
Twitter's
funny.
for, I guess.
Well, WoW Twitter at least, yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
All right, what's the one thing new players misunderstand about learning Mistweaver? Or the
I think
most?
that they think that there is a distinction between melee and range builds when there isn't. I think that's probably the most common one, and it has been for like 8 years at this point.
All right. If you had one day as Ian Hazakostas, what's the one thing you'd change about the game for good?
Ooh. I feel lame using my role abilities thing again, but I think that that would be the one thing that would benefit the most players.
Yeah, I think universally though, people would be super excited about like warriors getting their lust would be very happy.
Yeah.
All right. What's more important to you, gameplay feeling great or being tuned to be the best?
Gameplay feeling good.
Okay. Do you have, first off, do you enjoy any non-WoW games like in the same realm of how much you enjoy WoW?
Probably not, just because I can't get that nostalgic feeling from another game at this point. I grew up playing Pokemon, which I really enjoyed, and then I like doing horror games. And I've been playing No Rest for the Wicked with my boyfriend a bit, and that one has actually been really fun.
Side question, are you getting Pokopia? Pokemon Pokopia?
I don't think so. I haven't played a
Oh.
game. I do admit I haven't played a game since Pearl and Diamond. because that's the last
Oh,
time I had like a handheld, but I do keep up with it a little bit.
all right. So is there any mechanic that you wish, like that you saw in a game that you really love, that you wish you could bring into WoW as a raid boss or a dungeon mechanic or something like that?
I don't know if you guys are familiar with any of the Final Fantasy fights from
Oh,
Pandemonium. The numbers one, not the math one from the Alliance raid, but like the P6, I think, is where you had to like line up around the room in an order, and then the mechanic would go off in that order. I thought that one was fun.
Hmm,
nice.
That's pretty cool.
That would be kind of cool. Yeah.
I
Was
ask
that
you,
like
make
a
sure you get
choose
me
your
a
own
link of it.
boss kind of deal? Like
Choose
if
your
you did
own.
it in like if you did it in like a certain order, would the mechanics line up differently? So you would try to get it in like an optimal order, like one arm banded kind of deal.
No, you would just not die if you
Oh,
got the
okay,
right
that was
order.
it. That was the mechanic. Okay.
Yeah, I just like the visuals for it.
Oh, good. We're gonna actually talk about visuals in a second. Okay.
It kind of removes the need for. Oh, sorry, I'll leave it for that
No,
then.
no. Sorry. Go on. Be a good transition.
It was just like the little numbers. They weren't numbers. They were balls, but you had to count them. And I think it only went up to, I think, 8 because that's the party size for the raid. And then it kind of just alleviated the need for like a weak aura or something, or like an external timer, because you knew which one you were going to be just based on the game mechanic. And it was very clear.
Till the liquid Weakora pack comes out and is like just says the number, tells you
Yeah.
where to stand.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm now gonna ask a follow-up question just to Ayaski's joke. Where, like, do you feel that the average everyday person who is maybe stressed out about the add-on apocalypse is going to be really surprised what Liquid or Echo or any of them for that matter come out with once their raid is, once the Race to World First is finished? Do you think there's going to be like some insane debauchery, or do you feel like it's actually going to be mostly just them, using nameplates and stuff like that?
I think there's probably going to be a ton of drama about what is and isn't fair for Liquid and Echo
Oh,
players to be doing during the race.
oh, it's
There's
exhausting.
probably going to be
Naturally.
a ton of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like listening to Max, he's being very coy about it, and I feel like we're about to see some insane tech come out. Okay, this last question is just for us. We told you we're going to BlizzCon. Have you been to BlizzCon before?
Yeah, I went to the one in 2019 and then the 2023, I
Yep,
think was
the last
whatever
one.
the last
Yep.
one
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
All right, so what is your one piece of advice for us being first-time BlizzConners to make sure, like either a bucket list thing or what should we always like keep an eye out for?
I think the big thing is to do the pre-registration. So registration opens the day before the actual convention starts. You can do it like in the afternoon when you get there.
Oh,
It wasn't super. I went last time at like it was like 5 p.m. or something, and there was not that many people. But then the morning of the actual convention, it was packed.
oh.
So
I think
definitely try to do that first.
we fly in on
Good to know.
Thursday, right? So I hope it's open late. Okay, so we're gonna jump
I'll
into
I think
have
it's
mine.
like until 8 p.m. I want to say, but
Yeah. Well, we fly into LAX, and I feel like that's gonna be a disaster, but
yeah.
it was the only way to get a ticket that was reasonably priced. Okay, so Meg, again, thank you
Yeah.
so much. We are going to keep trucking along, and you've said that you're willing to kind of come along for the ride with us. So are you okay with just going over some key news of the week real quick?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So I'm going to jump in by transitioning from what you were talking about, the idea of like, flavor and customization to not only the raid, of course, but like even your class. And it sounds like Blizzard is pledging through an interview. I think Maria Hamilton and Jay Huang were talking about this. This has been a conversation people have been really upset about, especially with the Hernar. Am I saying that right? Coming out with so many
Turner.
Hernar, Burper.
Turner.
That a lot of people are really upset that their blood elves or humans even or whatever aren't getting enough customization. But it does also sound like they're going to lean into maybe some glyphs again, which I think is a sorely missed thing.
Nice.
I just wanted to ask you guys your opinion. Is this something that Blizzard should prioritize maybe over something like UI? I know maybe the same teams may not work on it, but like how important is this kind of customization to your actual character's face, for example, and also maybe some of your spells? Is it important?
Mm,
So
It's
I mean, I I like to look. The glyphs are really cool because they had unique. Like they made your abilities change a little bit, and they looked a little more unique. Like my AMS could be red instead of green, and things like that. I think those things are great aesthetically. But I think if I had to prioritize something, I would rather them fix the UI issues or some of the other
Mhm.
bugs over this. But
Yeah.
whatever. Take what I can get.
Yeah, I know Scrap usually mentions whenever we talk about customization of races that Torrent's a race that has been neglected for a while in terms of like faces and hairstyles. She's always like, "Oh, there's only like 6 Torrent faces or something like that." So I definitely would like to see a little more customization in just how much you can design your character, especially because and even if they put him behind like content and it was just like a drop or something, I think that would be a lot of fun for a lot of people because I think the customization and the transmog are a really big part of the game for a lot of people.
yeah, Meg.
Uh,
And then
And there's a lot of
yeah.
it that's already in the game. Like
Yeah,
I've been learning Blender and using WoW Model Viewer, which lets you have all of the
yeah.
customization options, even if they're not available to players. And there's so much cool stuff in there that we just can't use.
The example I always give is they did in, I think it was in Legion, they gave Paladins a new Consecrate model, and it was so good looking. And in fact, I think they use it in Priory now. And then they just took it away, and I don't know why. And like obviously, I understand maybe at the time the game couldn't handle it, but now it should be able to, and yet we still don't have our new Consecrate. So
Hmm.
heartbreaking. What
Mhm.
is there any spell that you guys can think of off the top of your head that you would say that's the first one I want to see some changes to, either because it looks so meh or because you just want it to feel more powerful? Ioski, I'll start with you since I don't want to put Meg on the spot without a chance to think about it.
No, that's okay. For me, I think it would be cool to have some different forms for your Avenging Wrath. That'd be
Oh
cool
yeah,
to have like different types of wings. That'd be pretty sweet. I've mentioned this, I think, in Meg's Discord. I think it would be cool if your charger, the one from the ability, you could customize how that looks. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Like you said, a consecration would be epic. Um, so yeah, it's just little. I think those would probably be like the main ones, just kind of iconic paladin abilities, just kind of getting them look a little more different, or maybe if you could get them to look a little more old school, like the old school wings, that'd be cool. As far as anything else, maybe like some totem customizations would be cool for
mm,
shamans. I think that'd be sweet.
yeah.
But yeah, those are my first couple I'd probably jump into.
Meg, did you have one that I heard you say yeah?
Yeah, I have Jadefire Stomp isn't as prevalent for us as it was before, but I would like to see recolors on that to match the different celestials that we have, because we have that for Crackling Jade Lightning, so I'd like kind of to tie it all together there. I think
They
that we could also use some more cherry blossoms, like in Spinning Cranberry and our other Misty Wind abilities.
That'd
that'd
be
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 cool.
nice.
kind of
Yeah.
cool.
They actually, because wasn't Jade Fire Stomp the original was from the, oh, what were they called, the Shadowlands
The
group?
Night Fae.
Yeah, Night Fae. Thank you. So it was blue, and then they changed it to green, which I thought was a huge improvement. But what are you saying, like red or maybe even yellow and stuff like that?
Yeah, the blue for Zwen, like the light
Yeah,
blue, and then Nazao is yellow. Chi-Ji is kind of like a reddy orange, and then the green for Yulon.
that'd be really cool. All right, Lithium, what about
See,
you?
I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna be different, and I'm gonna say I like it when I have a trinket that makes me do something look cool,
Mhm.
right? Like there's
Hmm.
a couple of trinkets out there that look really awesome when you have them on their ability, and that's I'd like to see more of that. Like I think that's fun
Yeah.
because
Oh, yeah.
it's unique.
100% agree. Like when I had Mr. Pick Me Up, just seeing that little dude come down
Yeah,
every once in a while and help you out was really cool. It's fun when you
it's
see
just
like your
cool.
the effect. There's a lot of really cool effects and animations in the game, and sometimes you don't even really notice them because the pace of the game is so quick, and maybe you're looking at a cooldown manager, you're looking at like health bars, but there's a lot of really cool stuff that they put in that you could do some stuff with that I think would be awesome.
Yeah, I usually notice it when I record all my keys and I play it back, and I'll be like, "Oh, that was cool." I didn't
Hmm.
see it when I was playing, but, kinda cool after the
Yeah.
fact.
Hmm.
My choice, Arcane Eat's pretty good when it comes to spell visuals, honestly, but I would love it if they updated Arcane Explosion. I feel like it's a little too old school.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to come back to player housing here, so I'm going to leave this aside for just a second. But I did want to revisit a topic we talked about last week. Now, we haven't had a new video drop. Has everyone seen the Liadrin the anime? What are they? No, I guess this one's just 2D, but have you seen this video yet, everyone?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, this has been worked on for a while now. So when the criticization of the Disneyfication came out, we already talked about last week Zaltath's video kind of going against the grain on this one. But I really just wanted to call out that I thought this video was insanely good, like a really good build up story wise, but also looked awesome. Seeing, I played Prop Paladin a lot, so seeing that Liadrin is a Prop Paladin is pretty flippin' awesome. Normally we get like the 2.5D videos, but hopefully, because we got launch, actually we didn't even talk about this, we got launched this week. I'm hoping we get another video, but is this the kind of stuff that you guys want to see more of, or we go back to the cinematic for player housing that people were criticizing? Is it okay to have a balance of both? What do you guys feel? And we'll start with you, Lithan.
I mean, I like this is gonna sound corny, but I like it when they change things up. Like I liked the housing video. I thought the housing video was great. I don't know why people were upset about it. Disneyfication or whatever. I think that's silly. I like this one. I thought it was really cool and unique, and it gives people a glimpse into some of the lore and some of the things that are behind some of the characters you interact with, and I think that's kind of neat. But it's an easy way. Like I don't have to go read a book to get the highlights around some of the characters, right? Because I'm not
Mhm.
gonna go read a book, right? Because I'm not that guy. But but like I don't know, I liked it. I like them stepping up their game and changing things up a little bit with some of the different videos and animations and cinematics. So I'm 2 thumbs up, man. I like it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, these are great. I hope they keep doing them. So playing through classic TBC, one thing I think WoW has lost over the years is its ability to just kind of have really rich lore and characters that have these very deep stories that you kind of play through. And I think the reason is because the game in about, I want to say like Water Legion, and maybe even earlier than that in Cataclysm, became a lot more like there's cutscenes, there's voice acting. It's just a lot more. There isn't as much environmental storytelling anymore. So I think when you have a character like Liadrin who's been in the game since TBC, you don't really know a lot about her because she hasn't been a major speaking point in the last couple of years. She hasn't been someone you've interacted with a whole lot. She's just an NPC in Silver Moon, and maybe you did the heritage quest and like you're like, oh sweet, I got the armor, and then you just move on with your life. But I think having stuff like this to kind of show you like, yes, no, this is an important character for this area. This is why she matters. She was impacted by when Arthas came in Warcraft 3. I think having more stuff like this to kind of help kind of build that kind of deep lore, I think will be really, really good for the game going forward, especially if Chris Metzen is kind of having some sway with it. I think that's a great way to go.
Meg, you like, we obviously have the other twos on all the other episodes, so we know their opinions about like the idea of the lore of the game. Do you engage with this kind of stuff like heavily, or do you just kind of like, no, I play the game and that's it for me?
I started playing when I was 8 actually, so I have been here for a minute. I recognize a lot of the characters. Um I definitely used to be way more into the lore, but I play the game for different reasons now. But I still appreciate it. So while I may not know, the ins and the outs of the story, I do still appreciate seeing the recurring characters. Uh, and I think that if all is going as they say it will, I'll probably be pretty sad by some of the deaths that we're gonna have in the
Yeah,
last Titan.
yeah. Do you get hyped up by this stuff though? Like, I mean, for like the example I always give is the
Oh yeah,
Legion.
I love the
Yeah,
cinematics.
yeah. Okay, cool.
I actually just rewatched the BFA one, like Sylvanas' shriek, like
Oh yeah,
just
Oh
so
yeah.
good. I always
yeah,
get goosebumps.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Well, and again, I was gonna say like even the Legion ones going from Illidan's, these are my scars or whatever, and then of course the ending of it. I do wish we got a little more cohesive story. Are you critical? We're pretty critical of the story going from the War Within to the Midnight. We just feel like there have been some decisions that our main characters are making that just don't really make sense. Now you could obviously argue otherwise, but like, are you critical at all about where the direction of the story is going right now?
I have been in the past. I don't think that I have anything in particular right now, but maybe after I go through the quests again and kind of see and pay attention a little bit more, I might.
Yeah. Do you always save the quests for launch, or do you like? Because I know sometimes you had to. I assume you had early access to alpha. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'll usually go through the quests on there just because there's not really any
Much
other
to
way
yeah.
that early to see
Yeah.
content or to see combat. So
Yeah.
I see
That's fair.
most of the opinions I get, I think I see from people on Twitter, where they're upset about like the Amani customizations only being a skin color and not like a body type like they were expecting, or anything a little bit frankly better than what they
Yeah.
were getting.
Well, that also feels like low hanging
And
fruit that
then
they could just give them at the very least a body type. I'm sure there's a skeleton that they have that
yeah.
could work. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm super hyped. I'm hoping we'll get another cinematic, like a full blown cinematic, for the actual launch. But if not, honestly, these have been really good. I do want to shift gears though, because I feel like, Meg, when the player housing launched, there was a lot of discussion about who's going to be the content creators for player housing. And I felt like maybe you didn't like actively make a decision to say, I want to get more into it, but have you been like really engaging with player housing?
I have. I initially wanted to stream a lot of it and do like build videos and stuff, but I ended up just doing a lot of it off stream and just kind of chilling. And I've been enjoying it, just doing it as solo content
Yeah, I saw
quite a bit. So
Nice.
you had a YouTube short I really liked where you like were playing music and the colors of the lights were, but inside was, I guess, your Miss Weaver laying down crying.
yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna lean on you guys a little bit to understand what's going on here in these next couple points, because I mean, like maybe it's just brand synergy and they're trying to make sense of like, you know, putting things on Pinterest. So can you, and I'll lean on the other two as well here. Like, can someone explain to me what is this Pinterest play here? How does the mechanic work? Let's start there. Does anyone know?
This definitely would have
I
been
have
the
no
scrap question
idea.
for sure.
No, I don't
Yeah,
even think she
well,
would. You know, she
I don't even
doesn't.
think she would know.
We knew.
Yeah, she doesn't engage in content right away.
I mean, it could just be a way for people to kind of put the houses out to maybe get a more casual player, get someone who maybe has some kind of video games or WoW on their algorithm to show them, oh, hey, there's housing in WoWs, now come back and play, something like that maybe. But other than that,
Well,
I don't know if it's just like a share, like, oh, I made this really cool fridge, or I made this really cool Ferris wheel or something like that.
yeah, it's like product placement, right? How can the game World of Warcraft capitalize on places where people create, right? And
Good
Pinterest
point.
is a place where people create, and so if you could share your creations out there and get people interested in what you've created and talk to them about how I don't know what you can share on there, but if you could talk to them about what you've done and share some photos that you've taken in game, like I could see the synergy. But I'm not a like Scrap is maybe Scrap's a Pinterest person. I'm not a Pinterest person. I know what it is. I know how to advertise on it because I've thrown some advertisements out there for different things. But yeah, no, I mean I think there's some synergy there with creatives. So
Meg,
that's my take.
Do you have
I
any
don't know
like?
how it
Have you
works though.
engaged with this at all?
I haven't. I have a pretty old Pinterest account with quite a bit of stuff on it, and all I've heard is just people getting banned by trying to connect their accounts. So
Oh my
I'm
god.
not gonna do that yet.
Oh my
They've
god.
been getting
Nice.
flagged as like bots on Pinterest or something. I don't know.
I look.
Yeah, it's kind of
I can understand the Pinterest side of it and the idea that like, people might want to, my understanding of Pinterest is you kind of like build boards to get ideas to, do your own project at home. I don't even think it like will tell you instructions on what they did, right? It's just a picture.
Yeah, you have to connect like a website to it.
Yeah.
and then you visit the
Yeah.
website through the
Okay.
picture. So it's kind of a
Yep.
weird platform for something like this, I think.
Well, and it's also
It,
weird in the sense that
it
like
is.
they've had so many other features that I feel like, and again, the argument is player housing is, you know, like a nuclear bomb of a feature coming in for a lot of players, and us included in that case, right? But you know, they've had other opportunities to collab. And just so you know, Meg, when we saw this long before we even heard that this might be like a collaboration with Pinterest or whatever, we were under the impression this might be something where you can take pictures in game and then like put picture frames up on the wall of whatever you take a picture of,
Yeah.
which sounds like an
That'd be awesome.
insanely good use of technology for like the player housing feature, right? But then to find out it's being used for this, and again, maybe they can use it for other things in the future. Like, we're not going to necessarily say this is the end of it, but I just feel so let down by this, and I just don't know. This seems like more of an advertising thing than anything, and now they want me to advertise for them, and I'm just getting like, well, hold on a second. Like, give me the feature I want, and then I'll advertise
Yeah.
for you.
I was hoping it would be for like guild halls and being able to take
Yeah.
like screenshots of your boss kills and then put a plaque up and show
Yeah.
the roster and your
Yeah.
rank. Like that would have been so cool.
It's
Insanely
like
cool.
when we get AOTC, we take that group picture with all the mounts and everything, and like I want to be able to frame that in my house. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you want like a big painting
Maybe
of
eventually.
1,000 needles or whatever, like, you know, go take a
Just out
picture.
those feet, like anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made it so far without coughing, and then that got me. Sorry. All right, but that said, so Pinterest makes a little sense to me,
Them
right?
feet.
What doesn't make sense to me though is this Zillow thing. Now, Lithian, you've done this, is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, there's no you can go to the website and you can actually hit contact agent and send an email to some person that never responds to you, which is Hazel. And
For all of them?
there is a housing thing. Yeah, if you click on that, it'll send an email to somebody. I sent it and never responded, so I don't know.
It's opening
know
my
what
work
that's
email.
all
I'm not gonna
about,
let that
but
go. Sorry.
yeah, it lets you look at different like the house design and like you're looking at Zillow.
It is
But
kind
you
of
do get a
insane, though.
piece of.
I was
go
gonna
ahead.
say it's kind of insane the pictures though, the way they're kind of doing the
Yeah, yeah.
pans and
It's
the
cool.
the effects and everything. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, it's like you're looking to buy an actual house on Zillow. It's again product placement, right? Like Zillow was probably like, "Hey, I see you guys doing this housing thing. You know, we do a housing thing, so let's collaborate a little bit and cross promote." And then you can get a piece of housing. You can get a housing thing from interacting with the site and stuff. But I think it's just a way to just cross collaborate and do more product placement.
Okay. So there's no
So I
actual
was
They
hoping
did
the
say they
agent
no
would
were
reach out to
gameplay.
me though.
They did say they were going to allow importing and exporting. I wonder if that's something they'll add to this
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah, but do you want Zillow's name
Yeah,
all over that for you though?
there's people.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
I couldn't even
there's
access this when it
people.
came out.
Same.
Yeah, it was getting slammed. But there's people in our community that are kind of anti like being able to do some of those exports, I think.
Yes. So more
I don't
context.
know.
Last week we saw a website where I don't know how, but like people were selling this idea of like, oh, we'll come and build a room for you and get you all the decor you need for it, and they were selling it for like $700-800. Some of them. Obviously, against terms of services, don't do that, people.
Money.
Please don't do that. But like we know that Blizzard is going to implement this idea of import export. I love the idea of a website like an exchange and hopefully run by Blizzard so that people find a home for all of it instead of like 16 different websites. But yeah, I don't know, man. Zillow's just not got the best reputation, and people can't own houses in general right now in our generation at least. So this is only just adding insult to injury. It's like, hey, you can have your pretend home, and even then, it sounds like they only curated 4 each, and it's like you can't even upload your own and have fun with that. I don't know. This just seems like
there's not a lot of interaction yet. I'm assuming they're going to do something with it. I don't know. Right now, it's just product placement to me. The way to cross collaborate.
All right. Well, I guess it works now for those who want to visit it, but I'm not going to encourage you going anywhere Zillow related. All right. Let's move on to some player power concerns. So last week we talked about the the weekly quest where you can earn some crests by just staying in a friend's house for, I guess, if you have 4 friends or whatever. Most people were upset, but understood that it wasn't really going to require any actual engagement to really get the quest done. But we do have a new weekly quest this week that popped up on the beta, where it seems as the rewards are the same. However, now it's encouraging you to do endeavors for the weekly quest. I don't know how many, but let's just say it's a couple. Do you guys feel like Blizzard has now crossed into a bigger problem of player housing having player power tied to it? Is this still a nothing burger, or is this like now we're kind of entering a territory of this is a bigger problem? I don't want to. Not everyone wants to engage with it. So, Lithium, why don't you kick us off?
I mean, people are asking for a gameplay loop, right? And with that gameplay loop, you have to get rewarded with something, right? And it has to be something of some level of value. But the reality is, if it's crests, like you're gonna hit a crest cap anyway. Or if it's all the things that they're rewarding you with are things that you can get in other avenues. So I don't know what the big problem is. I think this is just a way to endorse some gameplay loop within the housing community that allows you to get some good rewards that pertain to the main game instead of giving you something that is just a like you can also get like lumber. You could also get other things that help you with the housing part, but you can also get crests that can help you with your upgrades and stuff, right? So I don't know. I think it's fine. I don't have an issue with it. Like I think if people want the gameplay loop, then you can't complain about it when it comes
Mhm.
up. That's my 2 cents.
Do
I don't know,
you?
Io, what do you think?
Um, so I can understand the concern, and they did come out and say there would be no player power attached to this. I think when people think about player power, they want to know, can I get mythic gear or mythic crests from something? I think that's kind of like the big concern for a lot of people. And at least for this, you can only get the hero crest. It looks like they count towards your cap. So for some people who maybe don't want to do keys or only do like raid or have something they do, or maybe only do delves or something, this is another good way for them to get extra crests for whatever they're trying to do. And also, it's a way to encourage maybe players that are a little more sweaty to help out in their neighborhood when they wouldn't have otherwise, to get something to help them become a little more powerful. So it helps everyone, because the endeavors help everyone in the neighborhood, right? So it's not just like a just for me kind of deal.
I think.
I'm not helping y'all.
Well, I was asking. I'm not 100% sure how it works, but
No, but I mean, like, I think the
yeah, I
big
mean,
concern here
No,
is that like they made a promise, right? And I think if you were to poll most people, they would all say it's fine. Like, yeah, it's fine. Like, I have other ways I can do it via delves or even Mythic Plus, hopefully, but it's fine.
right.
However, it's just like another example where they
me,
continue to make a promise and then just walk it back. And add-ons is the biggest example, where they just like say, yeah, we said one thing, we're not going to address what we said, and we're just moving forward with whatever we decide.
for me,
Well,
when they make a
but there
promise on
go ahead.
something that's something that hasn't been released yet, I think it's really tough to hold them to that, because depending on what it is, obviously there's different levels of promises, but in a gameplay system, I think it's really difficult to hold them to that, because the game does have to evolve at some point, and they have to make changes. They have to do things to get people to keep playing and new expansions. And I think eventually stuff's just going to change, and sometimes that might go against what they originally said. And it's up to for people obviously to decide if that upsets them. But I don't think we need to hold them to that high a standard for something like this in particular.
Like,
Meg,
but how
I'm
do you
sorry.
define player power, right? I like my big issue is I can get the same crest doing delves. I can do other things and get the same crest. If it's just the crests that are defining player power, I think that's silly.
Okay,
You're not going to get mythic gear from this.
no, but like, okay, let's step back for a second, because again, we played a level where Mythic Gear, while not abundant, of course, is like that's our goal. But some people who might delve aren't able to complete the delves that offer hero track crests. Here they can get it without that kind of challenge, and that by definition is player power to them. Like it is a boost for someone out there.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's fine. Maybe they need it.
Sorry, Meg, go on.
my dad is a big
Go ahead, Meg.
delver. My dad's a big delver. He's very casual. So
Nice. That's
this is
awesome.
going to be something that he really likes. Like he'll be like, I can get my
Nice.
Crest and I don't have to, fight anything. So I'm like, great. Like
I'm just
that's
trying to
awesome
support
for
Meg's
you.
dad.
Yep.
Meg, like, do you ever think about? I'm now
Yeah.
very interested in your dad being a delver. Do you ever feel like he should be the voice of the delvers out there? You know, we always hear the streamers and the podcasters talk about no one's like the voice of delves. Can we just get like a weekly segment where he just gives us a voice note and tells us, delves are in a great place, still are, love them, and keep
They're
going?
great. Love Valera. She's the best.
Yeah. What do you think, Meg? Do you think this is, again, as someone who can see it from both sides now, do you think this is something that anyone should be concerned about?
I don't think that we should be concerned necessarily with the Crest themselves, but more the fact that they said, "Hey, you can do this without player power. It's not going to impact your player power." And then here we are getting upgrades from it. But I think that this may be just like kind of dipping their toe in the water of like how will people react to this. So let's start with heroic Crest and see how it's received, and then if it's bad, we'll just never do it again.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Man, now I'm so interested. We gotta.
And before and I was just gonna say, and before the vendors, the secret vendors come in every week that have BIS trinkets on them, and you have to do the
Oh,
endeavors to
God.
get them.
Yeah, I feel like.
That's the turbo boost this season.
Well, so we'll talk about that in a second. I feel like that's the thing, though. You said they dip their toe in the water, and the problem is like we talk about Hearth Steel, we talk about the traders tenders, and then being able to buy them. They dip their toe, and then like it just kind of always ends up being the worst, not the worst case scenario, but like a bad scenario of what we feared it would be.
Yeah.
And I don't really care because I'm going to engage with it, so I don't want to like sit there and say it's a nothing burger, but I know that there are the people out there who are the min-maxers who don't want to engage with all contents they don't enjoy. And on the one hand, I'm sitting there going, well, I don't want to, like, a promise was made to them and that's being broken. But on the other hand, there's Meg's dad out there who just wants to have a good time, and this is his way to get in, So at the end of the day, I think they're supporting the player that matters. I don't want to say the most, the player that matters a lot to them. But it does suck that they broke their promise. So, or do you guys even think that's breaking a promise?
I don't.
I don't
I mean,
know
yeah,
if it was a
technically.
promise.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You brought up Turbo Boost. So, Meg, quick, what is your feelings about Turbo Boost? Are you for or against?
I don't love it. I don't like the argument that people come up with where they're like, oh, well, it invalidates early pushing. If you're pushing early at all in any capacity, you're doing it because you're enjoying the game.
Yeah.
First of all.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna when first week, second week, you're not ending up with those keys at the very end. So that's kind of like a non-argument for me. I don't love how much it pushes keys up because it kind of feels like a carrot on a stick type of thing, knowing that it's coming and you're like, well, I'm gonna get the gear at the end anyway, so why now? But
What
I don't know.
about the
I wish it
idea of
wasn't
like the
such a big eye
dinars?
level spike, but the trinkets are fine.
Okay.
Love the dinars.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do wish that was around all of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the main thing I dislike is just like the 2 extra tracks on the gear.
Okay, Meg, I feel like I don't fully understand what's going on here. Maybe you have a better understanding about what's going on here. Do you care to explain, or you don't want to? Like, how is this supposed to work?
What is this?
This came out on Wowhead 3 days ago about
Void
like
Forge.
Is this just what they're doing instead of the
it's rumored, right? So my understanding of this
instead of
from
the
quickly reading it is that like they're gonna have this thing called the Void Forge that we unlock. And it says in the description, I don't know where it is on here, but it said in the description that it's like supposed to help you upgrade and obtain gear. And the idea would be that we would like, instead of doing the weekly quests of just running dungeons or raids, we'd have a quest that would give us a transmute whatever elemental void this thing is. And that would be our new dinar system. And of course, maybe also hold us to our upgrade tracks going from 6 to 8. I I think at the end of the day, this is just like a lore change to Turbo Boost, but it does seem like Turbo Boost is still coming in the future because there's like some game scripts that they said, I think, called out that says Turbo Boost is coming. Yeah, right here. Do you think putting a lipstick on a pig is making it any better for anyone, or is this just more of the same system?
Nah, I think this is probably just a flavor change.
Yeah.
Turbo Boost made sense with like the casino kind of theme that we had, but I feel like it's a little out of place for the ethereals, and then it would be really out of place for the void stuff. So this is probably just a flavor cosmetic change.
Oh, trade 3 unused trinkets for 1 wanted trinket. Okay, that's interesting. It's kind of like a
That's nice,
super
though.
catalyst sort of.
This is
It is nice, but
speculation
we
though.
do end up with a lot of dead gear.
Yeah.
Well, that's what. Yeah, you got a bunch of gear rotting in your bag. What are you gonna do with it? Sell it to a vendor for 50 gold, or
Yeah.
hey, trade it in.
Do you worry that it might be that you have to collect
I
the
don't
same trinket
mind.
3 times and then use that to make a myth track?
Well,
Maybe.
what bothers me is I run keys targeting a specific piece of gear, usually a trinket.
Wait, hold
and
on. Go
it
down
never
again.
drops.
Go down again. I want to see something.
Yeah, the loot tables for
Upgrading a
keys
piece
are
into the next
kinda
tier,
messed up.
turning a hero into a myth piece. That's interesting. Oh, that's just possible speculation. Okay, never mind. I was like, is that a real thing? But
that's don't get too tied to any of that. That's all speculation, man.
yeah.
It would be cool though. I mean, some of it. I don't know about the hero to myth thing, but
I mean, late enough in
'cause
the season. I mean, is it big deal if someone gets like a hero to a myth if they've had the hero the whole season? If they have a way to upgrade it through like doing like a weekly or something, if it's like halfway through the season. I mean, it depends on who you ask, I guess.
We did a whole episode to this.
The power gain between we did. The power gain isn't that much, right? So it's negligible. I'm fine with it, whatever. But for the raid stuff, I would want people to still, run those myth bosses before getting the myth gear. I don't know, just because. But
I feel like
and I don't run any myth gear.
Yeah. I feel like it's fine. I mean, we obviously have the people who are complaining about the 1% difference between their myth and hero track. But I mean, Meg, do you feel like there should be a status symbol of if you're a cutting edge raider, or maybe you're doing plus 20 keys, that you're the only set of people that should have access to this stuff, or do you kind of want to open the gates for everyone to come on in?
I don't think that gear should be the deciding factor. This is probably a really unpopular opinion for an MMO, but I hate gearing. Gearing is definitely like the thing that I have to do before I can do what I want. And it sucks when you're held back because you can't get Rage Heart or Lumithars or these big raid trinkets that, are not super accessible. It sucks when that's the thing that's holding you back. So I don't really care too much what gear other people have.
So you feel like when you actually get that one trinket you've been waiting for, it's more of just like oh, thank God, and you can move on, as opposed to a moment of excitement?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it's definitely like and I play monk, so I've never had a legendary, so I do not personally know the impact of getting one, but like we were Hall of Fame for Farok, and we had no axes. We had like 4 or 5 people that could use it. We didn't have a single Faraloth for our kill, and there was a couple pulls that would have been the difference, and it's like, okay, this is annoying. Like, what the heck?
Would you include legendaries in that turbo boost system?
Yeah. I wish that more people got them.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, I wish there was like good healer legendaries, or I think monk ones are a little out of the question now, but healer for sure.
You feel like why are monk ones out of the question? What specifically would be the reason?
I mean, we just never got one. And then like the only expansion that monk is really relevant for was mop. We kind of exist in a bubble lore wise and like content wise, so it's kind of, I think, too far removed from that.
I'm playing Brewmaster, man. I hope I get something cool. Oh yeah.
Do you guys, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about this now. Do you guys feel like when there was a legendary every season, was that good or bad for the game?
Like for everybody, or
Well, no, like
like
so
a
Fear
evoker
Loth
one and
and then
the
the
axe?
Evoker
And
one. And yeah, exactly.
I think it depends on who it's
I,
for.
I never got one, so I never
Yeah.
played any of those. So
It does suck, I think, when there's something like Fearleth where it's such a it's such a huge increase to have it. It would be nice to have something that's at least you could have that feels good to have, that isn't just, man, like we need, if we had one axe we would have killed the boss like 20
Mhm.
pulls earlier kind of thing.
Well, wasn't that Rhett, like if you didn't have it, you were just not viable at all?
Maybe.
It was pretty
It's
significant, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Sorry, my nose is stuffing up, so I want to keep this show going on the road. All right. We'll talk quickly
Yep.
about the Crest changes. Now, this was that's not it. We'll talk quickly about the Crest changes. This was never officially announced in a blue post, but it does seem like it changed on the beta. We do seem to have a Crest cap of 100 now, which a lot of people were speculating. They did nerf the cost for upgrading everything, so I think the total is 150 to upgrade everything. It is now 120, if I'm doing my math correctly. And then, of course, Crafted has been nerfed or buffed, whatever, as a result. Well, okay, Meg, I'm going to start with you. Like, when you saw this new system of the crest cost, it sounded like at the top end, people were going to have to hold their crests. I don't know if it's because they wanted to like blanket upgrade everything all at once, or like, do you know anything about that? Like, what was the logic behind it?
Not a ton. I'm usually pretty conservative with my crests anyway. I think I waited until like the third week to craft instead of crafting the first week for
Yeah,
like an offhand or something, just because I do keys and I'll do keys like with my group and with my guild, and just I do a ton of them. So the chances of me getting something that I need to avoid crafting is pretty high. So I like to be a little greedy with it
yeah,
while we're doing heroic kills and stuff.
okay. So yeah, you jump into Mythic like soon after week 3 or 4. Is that the usual strategy?
We have heroic week this week or
Yep.
this tier, so yeah, we'll go right in and
Awesome.
probably rekill heroic until until people don't need the gear anymore.
I mean, this seems like it's obviously in favor of the players not having to spend as much, but I was of the personal opinion that, and I mean, you want to gear fast, Meg, so it sounds like this might be what you want anyways. But I thought like stretching out the idea of gearing kind of gave me more motivation to keep playing. Now, granted, respecting players' time may necessarily be more of a priority for a lot of players out there. Um, do any of you guys feel like there is a concern that people might be treating WoW more seasonable than ever, as a result of the fact that they'll cap their gear out, let's say week 6 or 7, and then from there say, cool, I'm done, and leave the game, leaving everyone else to have to like kind of hope for pugging going better?
I mean, I play like when I stop playing is when we stop pushing, right? Like when people start to quit pushing and kind of fizzle out, that's when I quit playing. I'd rather have the gear so I could focus on doing what I enjoy. And I'd rather get my gear leveled up quickly. And I don't like my joy is more around how, how far can we push? How, how high can we go? And when the content gets hard, it's not about I don't want it to be about the gear as much as the skill to actually achieve what you're trying to achieve, right? And that's getting gears. I agree. Like getting gear is annoying, man. It makes me kind of angry sometimes. So I don't know.
Do you guys as tanks and
I don't
healers
know.
feel like maybe that's because like from a DPS's perspective, when I played Arcane as my main, for example, it just like always was like a carrot on the end of the stick, that the idea that next week I'll be able to do just that much more DPS. Whereas for tanks and healers, is that something that might be a factor as to why you guys feel that way?
I
I think
mean,
as a healer, I don't know
my
about tanks, but I think
go
as
ahead.
sorry.
No, go
I don't
ahead.
know
Go
about
ahead. You're
tanks
good.
so much, but I think as a healer, you can kind of play better than your gear is. It just might be harder.
Yep.
But as a DPS, it's like you do your rotation properly and you do that much damage, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
I think Mistweaver
Mhm.
or
Yeah, you kind of
healers are
cap.
a little more flexible.
Yeah, I mean, tank. I just want to be able to I just want to be able to mitigate, right, and be able to survive. And some of those trinkets really make survivability go up a little bit, especially early on. But I don't know. My vault's usually full of cloaks and belts, so that kind of sucks too. Sorry, go ahead, Iaski.
No, you're okay. I think healers especially benefit a lot more from things like if they have their 2 or their 4 set or having specific trinkets. I don't think they necessarily benefit from the eye level gain as much as, or as least as like Mike said, if you're someone who's good at playing what you're playing, you can do it pretty much when you're able to, and then if you get like a 4 set, it's just going to be easier, and then when you get a really good trinket, it's just going to be easier, and then once you get your eye level up, it's like, okay, this is I'm it's really slow, but eventually you realize, oh, this that was giving me trouble like 2 weeks ago is not even a problem anymore. So
Yeah.
I think it's a little different. It's not really something you look forward to, I think, just because like I said, I think we think about the game in kind of a different way and how we interact with the damage.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and yeah, I think you've already said this, but like the idea that if I'm at a wall, knowing that as a healer, I'll have that, hopefully that trinket I've been waiting for makes a big difference. But at the end of the day, the crests themselves, it was just a means to the end. And so I do want to call out that they did show that there will be a 50% reduction for alts. It does look like you have to have
That's always sweet.
yeah, and I think eye level 285 is effectively all myth track, right? So it's the same system in place, but in the previous, was 33%. So we are getting a little buff there, so that's very nice as well. Although this does show the
Nice.
old numbers, so who knows? Okay, last thing, and then we'll get you out of here, Meg. We appreciate you hanging it back. So there was a article in PC Gamer talking about a WoW lead. I don't know if they name him. It doesn't matter. Talking about how they lost something along the way building dungeons for sweaty Mythic Plus timers instead of the upper Blackrock Spires or the what's the Blackrock Deaths or whatever. I just want to get y'all's opinion on that. Like, do you guys feel like even as we talk about meta dungeons no longer being the thing because now they just seem to be releasing a new dungeon every season as opposed to the mega dungeon? Or as we have Labyrinth on the horizon, is that something that makes a huge difference to y'all? And or is it really just I love the idea of the Mythic Plus and I just want to keep going? I'll start with you, bud.
Yeah, so been playing a little bit of Classic recently, and those older dungeons, they do kind of have a feel of you're actually going to to Skullomance or to Stratholme, and you're actually kind of doing something difficult, and you're infiltrating like this evil fortress. And I think that feeling itself has been lost in a way, but I think the reason why it has been lost is because the just kind of how people interact with the game is a bit different, and I think the modern WoW audience really appreciates the Mythic Plus and how you have it's very contained. You don't have to worry about, well, we wiped like 5 times on a boss, but this one person really wants the whatever at the end of Blackrock Spire or something, so we have to keep pushing through. It's like, okay, we're not going to time it, we're kind of hit a wall, let's just call it and leave, and it's more bite size. And I think that when they say they lost something, I think they just kind of mean maybe a vibe or a feel, but I think something like Labyrinth is a good replacement for that, because you can give it for people who enjoy it and can interact with that in their own way, and then the people who are a lot of the majority of people who still want to do things like Mythic Plus can still have that and not have to have something that they've been enjoying, and it's been kind of improving over the course of the last couple expansions, getting to a really good point where it's kind of one of the main ways to play the game. Changing that in a way that's going to be so drastic that you're going to turn a lot of those people off. So
I wonder if, like, what if they had a new system where instead of Mythic Plus timers, they had maybe we have hard modes and stuff like that, but like maybe they had something where the idea was like a raid, it takes a week, quote unquote, to work through. no timer, but it like scaled like Mythic Plus does, right? So, you know, you'd be trying to push yourself, but you could walk away from it at any point. Would that be a gameplay loop you guys would engage with as much as you do Mythic Plus?
I think, I mean, for me, a main reason I do Mythic Plus is to get gear. But it's also just something to do with friends too. It's just one of the ways to play the game, but I'm not really passionate about like pushing really high keys or anything. I kind of like doing raid a little bit more, to be honest. But for me, I think what I know about a lot of people who really enjoy it is I think the timer is a big part of it. And I think optimizing around that timer and is would take a lot of the fun out of it for some people. But that's only some people I've talked to. I don't know about everybody.
Yeah. uh, I mean, you think about how people have changed over time, right? I think our attention spans have gotten a lot shorter, thanks to TikToks and things. But um, Mythic Plus has a set timer, and you know that you're going to be in a key for 30 minutes or whatever. Whereas, could you imagine what it would be like with our raid group if we had to try to prog a
Well, no,
20
no,
boss
you
like
keep it
maze
with
or
5.
something like that?
Yeah. You keep
I
it 5
I
man.
I know, but like it's it's already, like this doing the mega dungeons, like we have fun doing it, but it starts to hurt after a while. But I think that there's two things, right? There's the set timer for the Mythic Plus, but there's also the competitive nature, right? So doing MDI gets a lot of viewers. It gets a lot of gets a lot of recognition from a lot of folks, and you see it streamed everywhere, and people are practicing for that. Like um, there's a lot of hurrah around the MDI, and that's part of the reason why they're putting a lot of focus in on that. But you're right. Like I think they did lose something in response to that, and maybe labyrinths is the solution. I don't know. I haven't looked too deeply into the labyrinths, but I always thought that was like solo content anyway. But
It
maybe
can
it's
be, or
not.
can
But either way, like I what's that?
it can be. It's just like Delves. I think you can do 1 to 5 players.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with Megasett, and we're gonna go do labyrinths together, man. It's gonna be great. But like like I don't know. Like the other thing is PvP. Like people are saying PvP is dead in World of Warcraft because they're not putting a lot of focus in on it. They're more focused in on like Mythic Plus and things like that, which I love Mythic Plus, so I that's where I get a lot of my enjoyment. So I don't know.
Meg, from your inner circle, where do you feel like, the
Yeah, if
title
this were
pushers?
like a long, I don't think that I would be super interested in the old dungeons nowadays, just because, like you had said with like the infinitely scaling thing, I don't see myself doing keys and progression rating and whatever that third thing would
Yeah.
be. It's a lot of prog, and that gets tiring after a while.
You mean you don't want to get attuned
I
to
like them for
dungeons
what they
anymore?
were
Dude, I'm
at the
old,
time,
man.
but I play the game differently. No.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand the nostalgia of it, but like I think we've advocated on this podcast many times before that like nostalgia's not necessarily always working in your favor because don't get me wrong, classic is popular, right? But like classic has its spot in the sun, and theoretically we'll get classic plus coming soon that should hopefully expand upon that formula. But as others have said already, like Mythic Plus is my jam, and that's where I really feel my gameplay excels. So all right, well, that is our news for the day. I want to apologize to everyone who's been listening. I think Discord's been acting up all day, so like there's been little delays and cut throughs, and so I apologize to all our listeners, but hopefully you made it through unscathed. A big thank you to Meg. Meg, before we get into our outro, hold on. Okay, never mind. Do you have any where can everyone find you and continue to follow up with your awesome Mistweaver skills?
I am most active on Twitch and on YouTube. I know I haven't been live in like 2 months, but we can ignore that because we've got an expansion coming. Twitch and YouTube at Megasett, same with Twitter. Uh, and then the website for the guide and for kind of like the one-stop shop for everything is wayofthecrane.io.
Are you like a
Nice.
lot of other streamers that I hear, like I think of Growl as an example, who always says, "Oh, I got to stream more this year." Is that like something that bogs you down, or do you get engaged by it?
I there's like a running joke that I can't find the go live button because I'll go like 2-3 weeks without streaming if there's nothing to do. So
Despite the fact that you're
it's
playing the
definitely
game.
I definitely should stream more. Yeah, and I'm maybe not doing keys or rating, but I'll be on and like doing old achievements and stuff, and maybe people will come hang out for that. I'm not sure. It's
Are
not
you,
my normal content.
are you worried that
Mhm.
because it's not the content people necessarily are expecting of you, that they like you choose, and maybe not consciously, but like you choose, oh, I'm just doing achievements, no one's going to want to see that, and so you just don't stream it?
Yeah, it's sometimes that, or it's just I don't feel like talking.
Yeah.
I was doing in Dragonflight, I was doing like no mic streams, even though I was doing keys, and that was surprisingly popular. Um, like really surprised me. So I might do that again.
Hmm.
There you go. All right.
That's awesome.
Well, again, thank you so much. I want to thank Ioski as well for helping put this together for us. And I know there are a lot of people who
Yeah.
are wondering when Scrap will be back. She'll be back next week. Meg, thank you so much again.
Never.
Very, very insightful. And I just appreciate your time. I know I said it was going to be a quick one. It wasn't 2 hours. We just hit it. So I really appreciate your time.
We're yapping.
Any last
Yeah,
words?
thanks for having me.
Any last words or anything you guys feel like the people at home should know about this week? Would launch on Thursday, by the way?
Yeah, not necessarily about the anything in the game or any kind of like movies or shows or anything, but I know Meg had a question about how some people engage with dungeons, and maybe she could ask it, and people in the comments could let us know, and we can let her know what you guys say.
Oh yeah. So I was curious. The last in-game reward for Mythic Plus is around 3K for the second
Yep.
mount, and then the next thing up from that is the 0.1% title. So there's a huge gap between 0.1% and 3K, and I was curious if more people would be interested in pushing further, if there were more rewards in between there, like mounts or transmog or pets or weapon enchants, anything along those lines.
I will say,
Yeah.
go on, Lithium. Sorry.
No, I 100%. Like if you get like we we tend to top out once the reward gap starts, and we go beyond that sometimes if we're ambitious. But if there's a reward at the end of that, I'd continue to push, man, because I like the mounts. Recolors make me angry sometimes, but I like the mounts. I like the titles. I like I like to play for something. Granted, I just enjoy hanging out with my friends and everything in our community, but I don't know if I got something as a part of doing that. I think we'd push a little bit harder.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
don't know,
I'm the
Frank. What do you
same.
think?
Oh,
Or
sorry.
IO?
I'm the same way. When they introduced the 3K mount, now I get 3K every season. Before, my big thing was, oh, portals are the highest thing you get, so I'd go for that. Now it's this. I don't know if that would hit a wall eventually. I don't necessarily know how high I'd push, but I know if they added more rewards, I would definitely try to get keys a little higher for sure.
I think a great example of this is getting on the tournament realm and doing the 210s to get your banner. I
Oh yeah.
feel like that banner is a good example of something where I would push just to have that little, it's a literal trophy. But I'm not big on the mounts. Usually, Lithium, we were talking about this, I think, the other night. Like the new KSM mount is ugly.
Ugh.
It's not that great, right? And
Yeah.
usually they
you
are
don't
not
like
that great. It's like I can understand. I
The
don't know.
crow?
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah,
I
the
don't know.
crow.
Oh
Just looks
no.
very
I haven't seen
It
it.
makes it makes weird noises when you fly. It's like
Oh,
screams and
does
stuff.
it?
I don't know. It's kind of it's cool if you're into that aesthetic. I'm not. I just it doesn't feel
well.
good to me. And then I'm sure there's going to be like a recolor.
And then we got KSM mounts that couldn't
Oh,
even fly, right? Like I mean, so
Oh, the Hex Eagle.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, it
like
is like the vultures.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Oh, they're kind of cool.
well, the point is that I feel like the mounts, slice of the pie is taken, right? But if you were to tell me that there was like some like, I mean, we could talk about decor. Like, there's all sorts of decors, trophies, and stuff like that. I'd be like, oh hell yeah, I want it for my house. But if you were
Oh,
also to
I
tell
want
me,
a trophy case.
yeah, But
be
if
a
you were to
trophy
tell me
case,
that,
dude.
like, you know how they have that glow, the shoulder glow, that if you hit 2,500, you can add the glows. I
Oh,
want
yeah.
more of that kind of stuff, right? I want, like, make my gear look way more cooler so I stand out to the crowd that I'm 4K or whatever it may be, So, yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely think we all would love some more incentives.
Yep. And then we'll see what people in the comments say, and we'll let you know.
Do you have any follow-up to that,
Perfect.
Meg?
Probably just like how far would you go for something that you really want? Like how much effort would you put into pushing it? Like
What?
if it was your pick of the
Yeah.
litter or whatever for the item,
What I'd
where
worry
would you
about
stop?
is the idea that it's hidden behind like a rank as opposed to like a score. But I'd also be worried that if I'd have to start paying for some things, like if I had to pay for runs, despite the fact that
Oh yeah.
I could use the in-game gold to do it, it's still just kind of. But that said, I would push as hard as I possibly could if I saw something like this season. We talked about the wheel earlier. This season, I had to play an Affliction Warlock, which I hated, but I got up to 17s on it, which is a new personal best for me. And I definitely feel like I could push more if I didn't have a spec that no one wanted to bring into the key. So, like, I don't see
Yeah.
a ceiling that they would probably implement that would be a problem for me to get to. But let's say if it were 5-10 years ago when I wasn't as sweaty as I am now, I definitely would stress out if it was like, oh my God, a piece of the core that I'll never see again, but I have to do 15s as an example. That would,
Hmm.
make me very scared of the FOMO, but at the same time, I probably would be very motivated by it.
Yeah, same. If there
Yeah,
is something, we go ahead, Lithian.
no, I was gonna say, like when we're pushing, our group fizzles out when you have to you actually have to prog pretty hard, and that means like redoing the same key over and over again, and we don't do that very well. We kind of just you know, we kind of just quit, and if we have to get past that, that's going to be tough for some of us. Like I don't mind
Yeah,
doing it. I
but a
think it's
lot of that's
fun,
the
but
motivation, though, right? Like a lot of
I
that's
know,
just
I know.
we don't have incentive to
It,
keep going.
give me an incentive.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Idaho.
I think there's a point where if I feel like my skill as a player has hit its peak and I do not think I could push further, I definitely think that would impact that. Obviously it depends on if I had people I was playing with, because that you could probably push a little higher if you had a team or just people you play with regularly. If you're pugging, that ceiling you hit might be a little quicker, or maybe you enjoy the challenge and you push through with pugs and you can do the key. It's just, oh, we just didn't get great DPS or something this time, and now I got to do it again. So I mean, I think there'd probably be a grind point that I'd hit where I'd say, it's not worth it. But it depends too, because if it was something really cool, like if it was like, oh, you get like a Nazoth or something, like I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try to get that. Like, so just kind of depends on what it is. But I think there would definitely be a point where I'm like, I don't know if I could push this far anymore because I just hit a wall.
What a good question. I like that question. All right. Well, any recommendations I ask you from the TV world or not?
No, I got nothing. That was it. That was all I wanted to bring up because I know she'd asked, so I figured
All right.
throw it out there.
All right, Lithian, are you watching anything non-WoW related people should keep an eye out for?
No, you know what I need though? Like I go to Orange Theory and I do like the group fitness thing because I'm trying to, I'm trying to stay healthy, right? What I need though is I need people with these New Year's resolutions to go ahead and quit, right? So that so that the classes aren't so full. That'd be great if they go ahead and start quitting now. I know that's probably a negative message for everybody else, because I'm gonna keep doing it, but whatever. Stay healthy. Stay healthy.
All
That's
right.
all I got.
Meg, anything you think people should check out?
I just started not too long ago Vinland Saga. Pretty good so far.
Oh, okay. Where can they find that? I have to Google that now.
That's on Crunchyroll.
Oh,
Is where
okay.
I'm watching
it's
it, but
anime.
you can probably find it. Yeah.
Awesome.
I got a
I
list of anime.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like I think Invincible's coming out, and I don't know if you consider it anime or not, but like it's coming out season 4 or whatever, and I just need to catch up. I watched One Punch Man in the first season. I didn't go any further than that. I just always start it, and I don't know. I just can't commit.
You can't find that one anymore. So
Yeah. I saw the movie Goat today with my daughter, and I don't necessarily recommend it. It wasn't bad or good or whatever. But one thing I do want to ask is that do you guys ever feel like you're watching a movie and they have like this very pinnacle moment where like you know the line that's going to come and make everyone go like, oh hell yeah, and get hyped up, and they just fall flat on it so badly that you feel like, what the?
Oh, that sucks.
Like but do you have that moment where you're watching a movie and you feel like if I wrote it, I would have wrote it 10 times better with this line or something?
Yeah.
no.
It
For
drives me.
sure.
It drives me crazy, and I don't know. I just feel like I need to become a writer in Hollywood. Anyways, Meg,
Good luck.
again, thank you so much. For those who need to find her, wayofthecrane.com, is that right?
.io, I think.
.io.
.io,
Like
sorry.
Raider
Way
IO.
of the Crane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wayofthecrane.io. Find her on Twitch. Find her on Twitter. Find her on YouTube. Find her everywhere. We'll put all that stuff back up. All right. That is episode 74 on our way to BlizzCon. We will have Scrap back next week. Try not to be too disappointed. But again, thank you, Meg. Until then, everyone have a great week. Take care.
So yeah.
Thank you.